transitioning.
Greetings, friends, Romans, countrymen. Lend me your ears. That's all I remember of that entire play.
Which one is that again?
Julius Caesar by Shakespeare.
Ah, right.
Yeah, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. That's about it. That's it. If you want Rome, go watch History Unhinged. We did entirely too much Rome. Entirely too much Rome.
You'll see that in about a month.
Yeah. Oh, the first one we did a lot of Rome too. We lost a Roman helmet guy though.
We did lose a Roman.
We did lose a Roman. Now we have Anglo-Saxon helmet guy, but he's very quiet.
He's.
Speaking of which, you want to pass me my nasal helm? Yeah, we filmed some good content. There was some bonking. I got to wear my helmet. What?
Hero Complex said Rome wasn't covered in one stream.
That's true. It was not. It was covered in almost all of them. It's just so easy to talk about Rome, you know?
Easy to talk about Rome. Well, we'll get to a point in the year that's the only thing we do talk about.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually a surprisingly comfortable piece of headwear given what it is. Hello. Yeah, imagine you're out for a hike in the dark and you just see this approaching you. That's what it felt like to be an Irish person in the 1300s. St. Patrick's Day. We should have done a St. Patrick's Day show. I don't know why we didn't think of that. We're both sick. Well, yeah, but I already said it was going to be about JonBenet.
When are we always?
We'll get to St. Patrick's Day. We'll get there because it actually is St. Patrick's Day. Can you put that back?
Yeah, it's like actively St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, there's a lot of festivities going on like 30 feet that way.
We partook on Saturday, and we're
thoroughly
regretting our choices.
I am in pain. You look good. This looks right on you.
Thank you.
It's like you were meant to be that.
Given my ancestry, I feel like I might have.
Yeah, it fits. So anyway, welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're both sick.
Violently.
Yeah, Pico is currently going on the same list as Sedona Tap House.
Yeah, let me break this down for you guys.
And also Independence Blue Cross.
Considering I've been responsible for power and whatever at the place. It took 6 months to get things transferred over from the previous rental person to us because it's an old property. It was confusing. But, it's Pico. So what would have normally taken a month for most people, it took 6 months for them. Got everything set up. They had to make 2 separate accounts, one for gas and one for electric. Set everything up back in November. We started here in May, and it took until November for that to be squared away. But anyway, got everything set up in November. Everything was running smooth. And then all of a sudden, I think in like late December, early January, I got a notice that said something was wrong with auto pay on the gas account. And I go to log into the gas account, and I can't access it.
There's no gas account.
And but the funniest part, though, is that every month we've gotten a bill for that account. Separate account number, separate email, separate full login scenario. Got on the phone with Pico, told them the scenario. They said they'd handle it. A month later, another bill says it wasn't paid. Called Pico again. Said, hey, we'll kick this up higher. So sorry this is happening to you. Walk us through everything. I literally had someone screen share with me at one point to watch me attempt to log into Pico, and it didn't work. And they said, this is really weird. We'll get back to you in like 3 weeks and like have this handled for you. Another bill.
It's kind of like when your dad goes out for milk.
Yeah. But the problem is that when you run a service that demands being paid for, but you don't allow the person that is using your service to pay for it and don't even let them have access to it, and then you shut off their utilities when it's not paid, that's like, I don't know, to me that sounds vaguely criminal.
Since you mention it, the same exact thing happened to me with my health insurance lately. I had Independence Blue Cross, and then they didn't charge me, and then they didn't notify me that I hadn't paid them because they hadn't charged me. The credit card that it was set up to auto pay on was working perfectly fine. I find out 2 weeks after my plan has been terminated that my plan has been terminated, and then I spend like hours upon hours on the phone with them and with Penny, the Pennsylvania Health Insurance Exchange, and twice IBX has told me, Independence Blue Cross has told me, yeah, our bad. We'll have it reinstated by the end of the week. And then twice I've received a notice saying that it's not being reinstated because I didn't pay. And I'm like, how? Listen, I'm not saying I agree with his actions, but I get where Luigi was coming from.
I just, you know,
But the more important thing is, if anybody out there is a lawyer in the state of Pennsylvania, I found out over the weekend that I am not the only person this happened to. In fact, Independence Blue Cross did this to a lot of people, and to me, that sounds like a class action lawsuit, given that it put all of us in mortal danger of, if we get sick or injured, going into deep medical debt for reasons that don't really make any sense.
Also, while we were filming, I was researching, and I found out based on, like, the Pennsylvania utility, corrections thing or whatever.
Oh, it's illegal to shut off power in the winter?
Oh, not only that, but also they did not send us a 10-day notice. Nobody contacted us directly that it was going to be shut off.
Yep.
And it's for a business.
Uh-huh.
All of which is against Pennsylvania law.
Yep.
So it's not like, I appreciate you guys making the joke and saying a skill issue. No, Pico has unlawfully shut off our power.
Yep.
And not allowed us to even pay the bill by giving us access to do so, whether online or on the phone.
Also, to be clear, the bill we haven't been able to pay is the gas bill. Ironically, the gas stove still works. The electricity in every other room of the building does not.
Yeah, no, that's the funny part is the electric account has been paid off every single month.
And there's still this. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on here at the lodge.
Yeah.
But I had to give you some updates, chitter chatter a little bit. Anyway, the big update I wanted to give is that for months, a small number of very passionate people have been asking where the rest of the JonBenet series is. And I answer you, I wish I could finish it right now. To be perfectly honest, we are very confused about YouTube at the moment in general. Our views are half what they were a month ago. We don't know why. It seems to be entirely on the algorithm's end. We've been, as you can tell from watching the show, trying all sorts of different things, from talking about giants to true crime to, we just shot a video on Vikings. Which I got to be honest, I know it's kind of more history than lore and a little outside of the wheelhouse, but the story of the Vikings in North America, and I use Vikings colloquially, the story of the Norse in North America is so incredibly convoluted and interesting that I think you guys are going to love it. It's going to be a 2-part series. We just shot the first one. The next one will be coming out the following week. But we've been trying everything. We've been really struggling. So when it comes to JonBenet, I was kind of like, all right, I'll wait until the views are up again and we can take the hit, because I love doing the story. I'm fascinated. I'm really invested, and I know a lot of you guys are too. But my hope was that it would basically get to a point where, like, okay, we're doing really well on 3 of the videos every month. That'll allow me to take the hit doing the JonBenet video, because it's kind of like, imagine you sell cars and you have 3, you're on a good streak, right? And then suddenly you stop selling as many cars. You got to find a way to sell more cars. Like, if say you got like 5 cars you sell, and one of those cars simply stops selling, 4 cars you sell, and one of those cars simply stops selling, you got to figure out how you're going to manage to operate the business.
How to keep the lights on? Wait.
Yeah, exactly. Point is, as much as we love doing this job, it is also a job. We do have to worry about the amount of money that's coming in. We have people who depend on us for getting paid. We have, a lot of irons in the fire. We're trying to grow into more than just being a YouTube channel.
Also a lot of logistics, like, handling utilities that don't allow us to pay the bill.
Yeah. So point is, I'm still working on the JonBenet series. I've been trying to figure out, am I going to be able to do this in a monthly format? Am I going to be able to do this in a bi-monthly format? And what I came to the conclusion of is I will be able to do it, but for everyone's sake, including ours, I think the best way to do it is finishing out the series in one video, which is going to be long as hell. That is going to be a long video. I might drop that as what we'll probably do, and I'm aiming for around Christmas, because that is going to be, at this point, I think the 28th anniversary. So I'm going to aim for Christmas, and my goal is to release basically the entire documentary, potentially going back and reshooting the original 4 episodes, tying them together a little bit more coherently, correcting some of the mistakes I made the first time around, and then just blasting through the remainder of it. The issue is, I'm trying to do something nobody's ever done before with this case, which is make a filmed documentary that covers the entire story with all of the relevant details. Because if you watch the Netflix version, it left out probably 80% of the story. Because it was trying to tell you an exciting, riveting story, not get to the bottom of what happened. And for better or for worse, we've become something of a cross between an entertainment channel and also a documentary channel. So my goal is to take the remainder of the story and write the remainder of the documentary. That's just going to take some time. So you guys are going to get JonBenet back. And I'm going to make an announcement on this probably tomorrow on the main channel, just as a post. JonBenet is not over. We have not abandoned the project. We just need to rework how we're going to cover it. So it's going to be a long documentary. It's going to be later this year. But my hope is that we will have, by the end of it, the single most comprehensive video on JonBenet Ramsey ever made. And on the one hand, I want to do that because I find it to be a fascinating story of incompetence and deceit and tragedy, to be blunt about it. But also because I think that there are people alive today who are responsible for what happened to that girl. And somebody has to be willing to... Hang on. Somebody has to be willing to tell that story properly, without fear of, being sued. And I think the only way to do that is to go through all of the nitty-gritty details so that nobody can, take it to court and say, oh, this is defamation. Because like we did with Sebastian Rogers, I want to be able to support every single thing I've said. So that if I do end up pointing the finger at somebody, it's unassailable. And at the very least, it's unassailable in court. But preferably unassailable in general, that, nobody can argue with it. So it's still in the works. Now, I wanted to go back and talk about it a little bit because I've had a few months to think about it. Everything that's been going on and having some separation. Also, I apologize. I'm under the weather, so I'm a little stuffy. But I was thinking back on the series and on the case. And I went into it, honestly, without any opinion on who did it. I think, do you remember me calling you a bunch that first week?
Yeah, it went beyond just the first week. Even the first 2 to 3 weeks, you were very much uncertain of what the outcome was going to be. And even when you started to get a general idea, you refused to come to a conclusion until you had looked deeper into the case. I
think at first I was very suspicious of Patsy. And then it was, it kind of has to have been John. But no, Burke makes more sense. I haven't considered the intruder theory, but to be perfectly honest, it just doesn't make any sense. And what frustrates me there is that I do not for a second believe that somebody broke into that home that night, especially not through the basement window. I think Lou Smith was desperate to find a way that the parents were not responsible for this. And I think that partially comes, from a place where he had done it before, found a case where everybody thought it was the parents, and then he was able to prove it wasn't. And then also because, as he said to Steve Thomas, a parent could never do that to a child. Which, a lot of parents have done that to their children. Casey Anthony is trying to make a comeback right now.
I don't even understand how that's possible.
I feel like if I were her, I would just want to remain in the shadows forever.
It seems like she's pulling an O.J. Simpson.
It kind of does, which is a wild decision to make. But the point is, people do horrible things to their kids all the time. It happens many, many times a year. There was, even within the timeline of the JonBenet case, Patsy herself in that first interview on CNN references, I think the name was Susan Smith. I think it's escaping me exactly what it was right now. There's a lot of Susans involved in this. Like, I actually had a conversation with Jameson, Susan Bennett, who is very convinced that for some reason she needs to be the arbiter of all of this information that she supposedly has, even though she's some random housewife in her 70s who lives in North Carolina. She wrote a play and inserted herself as a character into it. Personally, I think that the FBI should just subpoena everything she owns, because, oh my God, the level of disdain I have for this woman after interacting with her. I told her straight up, I was like, you can either help me or you can become a part of the story. She decided she wants to be part of the story. Because again, you either provide me with what you have that should be public information at this point anyway, or you are actively obstructing at this point. Why do you have this information? If you have it, there's no reason the rest of us can't, you know? So, I mean, I'm going to have an entire segment dedicated to her and who she is and how she got involved, because as far as I'm concerned, the fact that she meddled in that case by trying to discredit Don Foster is, that's all I need. That's all I need to decide that she's got to go on to the, her head goes on a pike too.
Susan, I understand that life is hard and we all need to find a way to get that bag, but
she's not even getting a bag from it.
Well, like, clearly attempting to by creating a play with herself as an insert character.
Really weird thing to do.
Yeah. Don't involve yourself in ongoing cases, and especially to the point of meddling that could lead to obstruction, because that's just not good at all for yourself if that's all you're interested in, or, you know, the society in general, especially the young child who is at the center of the case.
Also, my favorite part about that entire interaction was her saying, you know, how she's the one who discredited Don Foster so that the grand jury didn't take him seriously. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the grand jury voted to indict. It's like, Susan, you didn't do shit. Mm-hmm. You didn't do anything. All you did was potentially help murderers get off the hook. Yep. Allegedly. So, you know, anyway, my point in coming back around to that, you know, this whole idea that, oh, parents don't do that to their kids. Lou Smith, my guy, and I don't think he's alive anymore, but in the middle of this, the very beginning of this, they go on CNN and she mentions a woman who not a year prior had driven her car into a lake with her 2 children inside of it, and then claimed that somebody stole her car. She claimed she was hijacked, tried to pin it on a black guy, you know, which I don't even need to get into how screwed up that is. And then turns back around and is, you know, oh, like, panicky, poor me, you know, like, I don't know what happened. I was so stressed out. So you're looking at it, how can you say parents don't do this to your children, but don't do this to their children, when you have an example of it that just happened the year prior?
And that's the thing, is it's also not just that example. There have been so many examples of that through history in even just the last century.
And she told on herself too.
Yeah, but what I just don't understand is how Lou Smith got to the level that he was, being as naive as he was.
He was a good investigator. And I think that his search, I think that he was a man with a good heart who genuinely believed that the Ramseys were not responsible for this. Because if you look at it, it doesn't seem like he ever once considered them. And this is just something you see time and time again with that case. Because, first of all, I do want to say, Patsy, in my opinion, told on herself in that very first interview when the 2 people she referenced were both guilty. Like O.J. Simpson and I think Susan Smith was the woman's name. Both guilty. And she compares herself to them, basically.
Also, I believe at that point, I could be wrong here, but I believe timeline-wise, OJ had been found guilty in the civil court at that point.
Oh, yeah, he'd been found liable at that point.
Yeah.
So, you reference 2 people who are guilty in defense of yourself. Also, I mean, throughout that interview, yeah, she was on a load of Valium, but not once did I feel like she or John were sincere. I'm not a behavioral analyst. But at the same time, they didn't look like grieving parents to me. At least not in the sense that they should have. They looked like they were trying to hide something. And I know a lot of people came to that conclusion. Also, we haven't gotten into it yet, but just the sheer number of people they were willing to accuse with no evidence at all, the number of people who had their lives destroyed because these two people were just like, here's a name, go look at that person. It's mind-boggling. Even if they weren't guilty, what they did is disgusting. Like, the lengths they went to defend themselves, even if they weren't guilty, would still be offensive. I mean, people, lifelong friends, close friends that they had made when they moved to Colorado, just put through the ringer because of this. I think that somebody's got to pay, you know? And you look at it, nobody broke into that home that night, which leaves a very slim number of possibilities. And I'll get more into detail once we get to the end of the documentary about why I'm so certain nobody broke into that home. Really, the only thing that has given anybody a reason to suggest there was an intruder, the sheer single piece of evidence, is that DNA. Which, to this day, I repeatedly hear it was confirmed that was not any member of the Ramsey family. And yet I have yet to find a single law enforcement source, and I don't mean prosecutors, law enforcement, FBI, CBI, county police, city police, any of it, that actually says that. It's kind of like with the Sebastian Rogers thing, how you see like people are like, oh, well, the police cleared all the parents, they all have alibis, and then there's not a single statement from the police saying that. You get like, oh, you know, a journalist who comes out and says, I've spoken to law enforcement and they say this. But it's not from law enforcement, it's from a journalist. And then I hear the exact opposite whispers in my ear from the other end of it. But I mean, God, it's just the crocodile tears from John Ramsey make me sick. Him getting recently, this year, in the last few months, getting on TV and complaining about how the FBI wasn't involved early enough. Meanwhile, the FBI was at the house that day. And what did the FBI say? Look at the parents. From the moment the FBI was involved in the case, from the moment that body was found, look at the parents. And what did John Ramsey's lawyers do? They did everything in their power to prevent the FBI and the CBI from actually analyzing evidence. Because it might destroy things, might destroy a sample. As if swabbing something is going to destroy the sample. You know, I hate to say it, but what was the goal here? You wouldn't let the FBI do it, and you told the CBI that you wanted the FBI to do it. Or that you wanted your own independent analyst to do it. No, I'm sorry, you're suspects. You don't get to have an independent analyst do it and not have law enforcement do it. And this is coming from a guy who does not like law enforcement that much. I mean, if you guys have been watching our content, I am critical of the police all the time. Constantly. And on this one occasion, I am coming to you and saying the police didn't do anything wrong. At least not, a few police officers messed up. But for the most part, the cops did not screw this up. A lot of the procedure that you look at it and you go, well, why didn't they follow procedure? A lot of that procedure only exists because of this case. There were things that they didn't know to do because nobody had ever made that mistake before. It would have been great if Officer French or, trying to remember, it's been a few months since I looked at the details. Officer French and,
was it Arndt?
Reichenbacher, something like that. Yeah. The sergeant. Yeah, if one of them had opened up that door, it would be a very different story. In fact, I would be willing to bet that if Officer French had opened up that one door in the basement and found the body, John Ramsey would have left in handcuffs. And I mean, and here's the thing is I plan on going through everything else because the story just gets more and more convoluted. But I will tell you right now, there is exactly one thing that happened that day that convinced me. It was John Ramsey trying to get on a plane to Atlanta. And then when the police asked him about it, him saying, oh, I have a business meeting.
When we know they were actually supposed to do what that day?
They were supposed to be flying to Minnesota and then to Michigan. I don't know what happened that night. I don't think it was planned, whatever it was. I don't think anybody intentionally killed that girl. but someone who was let into the house that night or who lived in the house that night did it. I don't think there's another way to look at it. And the fact that John Ramsey tried to run away, that suggests to me that either he knows exactly who it was and it was somebody close to the family, or he knows it was somebody in the family.
Yeah, and the thing is like, I don't think either of us are as naive as Lou Smith.
No.
Actually, as a matter of fact, I know we're not, especially after as many years as we've, gone through cases like this. It is possible for parents to murder their children. It is possible for parents to do horrible, unspeakable things to their children. It is extremely unlikely for someone not capable of committing those acts to leave the home of which their 5-year-old daughter was just murdered hours later to go to a business meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
they are not capable of existing in the same sphere. Either
you
you're
have to be
one
a
or the other.
sociopath.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is like, either you are the type of person that could and would murder your family, and you have to go do that, or you're not, and that thought doesn't even cross your mind.
There is no business matter serious enough, no business matter pressing enough, that if you call the board or the people you got to meet with and say, hey, my daughter was just found dead in my basement, they're going to be like, I'm sorry, John, we really need to get this deal done today. It's not going to happen. And he then went on bereavement leave for 3 weeks and then went back to work, which shows that obviously there were no pressing matters. If he, the CEO, could go on bereavement, somebody was clearly capable of handling things. There was no business meeting that day. They know there was no business meeting that day. He knows there was no business meeting that day. And, it's those little things. Like, again, I hate to keep referencing Sebastian Rogers, but it's so pressing on the mind right now. Chris Proudfoot, in the first month, lied about like 6 different things. And they were things he didn't need to lie about either. But he lied multiple times. And some of those lies were relevant. He said he'd taken a polygraph. He then said he hadn't taken a polygraph. Within days, I think it was 5 days, said, I've taken a polygraph. And then 5 days later, he tells Nancy Grace he hasn't. He tells one person that the last time CPS came to the house was when Sebastian was like 12. And then he tells another person 5 days later, oh, well, there was a recent CPS visit in the last few months. Lie after lie after lie after lie. John Ramsey, same thing. That, to me, I don't need to know anything further to suspect him, but at the same time, that's not enough to prove it. That was enough to make me want to prove it, though. And also, it's interesting. They interviewed the pilot, and the pilot didn't seem to think that there was any sort of business meeting that day. He didn't expect to fly to Atlanta that day. And then the fact that he turns around and they tell this weird story about Fleet White freaking out and how they thought he was going to come kill them all. And, John Ramsey had to defuse the situation. Meanwhile, Fleet and his wife are like, what? What are you talking about? That didn't happen. I was coming over to tell you, hey, people are going to take it weird that you're not going on any sort of media, that you're not cooperating with the police. And then, of course, the fact they go and they get on TV and they're like, we're ready to cooperate fully with the police who are on their way there to interview them, and then they hop back on a plane and go hide. They didn't go home. They didn't go back to the Fernies where they had stayed. This family worth $6 million didn't go get a room at the nicest hotel in Denver or the nicest hotel in Boulder. They didn't rent a house. No. They went and stayed at a friend's place. Jay Alowski, I think, who was, I believe, one of John's business partners, not from Access Graphics. And then we learned that, one of the attorneys in the DA's office is a business partner of John Ramsey's. I mean, the layers to this thing. He's connected to all the right people to get away with this. And then you pair that with an absolutely feckless, low-life scumbag of a DA in Alex Hunter. And what do you get? you get a case that went on so long that everybody forgot what even happened. And then you have some punk 27-year-old 30 years later. Sorry, Mandy's calling me. You have some punk 27-year-old 30 years later digging up all your dirt. Sorry, John. I gotta respond to this really quickly if you have thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think at this point, especially with the level of digging that we've done, and especially the level of digging that you've done, we are unshaken in our conclusion.
Yep.
Granted, there are still things that we want to look into and things that we want to...
To be clear, the conclusion that we're unshaken in is that it was either a member of the Ramsey family or somebody that one of them let in that night.
Yeah. And the amount of either negligence or corruption that occurred in this case, I wish I could say was surprising, but after doing this for as many years as we have now, I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Nope.
I'm just really disappointed that we have a system that allows things like this to happen. Because the fact of the matter is that this is not the only case that has happened like this.
Mm-mm.
I'm sure there have been hundreds, if not thousands. It's just that because this one was so high profile, we're still talking about it today.
Yeah, I mean, the deliberate attempts to mislead the media, the constant publishing. I mean, the DA was leaking. Here's the thing that drives me nuts. The DA was leaking stuff. Seems like one of the officers on the case might have been leaking stuff. Although it's weird because at one point it was Larry Mason, Sergeant Larry Mason. When they're in Atlanta at first, he gets accused of, as soon as they get back, he gets accused of leaking information to the press, to CNN. There's a lawsuit over this because he's suspended. He's, pilloried over it. Lawsuit finds that he didn't leak information to CNN, or at least they couldn't prove he did. Years later, he's talking with the guy who wrote Perfect Murder, Perfect Town. And according to Steve Thomas, the author of Perfect Murder, Perfect Town, told him that during an interview with Sergeant Larry Mason while he was writing the book, Mason admitted that he was the one leaking things to CNN. It's just a constant interference and malfeasance. And see, now that we're doing this, I'm like, God, I really want to get back to this case.
I will say, from everything that I'm seeing in the chat, and for those of you making comments in the chat, I am seeing some of them, not all of them, obviously, because I'm looking at him, not looking back here. We'll get to questions later in the episode.
Very soon, probably.
However,
I would say if you want to ask questions, probably try and get them in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
So we can get to everything.
I will say for a lot of people, though, even early in the episode, this is the first thing that a lot of people have seen of ours in quite a while.
Wait, like the first thing you've clicked on or the first thing you've seen?
Apparently the first thing I've seen. Also, some people were saying...
Yeah, I just looked at the viewer numbers.
Uh-huh.
YouTube, why? What do you want from us? You told us Giants. We did Giants. And now...
Maybe this is our sign. Maybe we just need to stop listening to what YouTube tells us to do and just do whatever we want and then see what happens.
All right,
Also,
one more Viking video, and then I'm taking all of my Adderall at once and finishing the JonBenet series in a week.
I'm so down. I'm so ready. I will say also some people said I haven't been able to watch as much recently because of school.
You know what? It's the 20% every March.
Yep.
Every March and every late October.
Is it exams and spring break? Because we've been racking our brains trying to figure out what exactly it was, and that's been the hypothesis.
Driving me nuts. Hopefully everything gets better in a couple of months. Or in a month. The sooner the better.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, see, this is the problem. This is why this is why I've been avoiding this case until I feel like I can give it the attention it deserves, is because I do have such strong opinions. Maybe I will be able to do it. There's so much I gotta read. There's so much reading I gotta do.
I'm so ready to get back into it.
Oh, me too.
For it.
I have been too. I want it. I want to finish it. Can I feasibly do that in a week?
I feel like you couldn't finish it, but you could definitely make some headway.
I could. I just worry that part 5. Yeah, I'll have to see what I can do. Because I really, the more I think about it, the more I'm just angry and Man. Also, I part of the thing is I want to vindicate the hell out of Steve Thomas. That man is a hero.
Yeah. No, I mean, from everything I've seen, even independent of the research you've done, you can't describe him in any other way.
No, I have never seen an officer more legitimately dedicated to a case. I think he was wrong in his conclusion, but I respect the hell out of the fact that he sat there on Larry King and told Patsy to her face he thinks she did it. That is ballsy. And the fact that he then got sued and fought through it. And that's the other thing. I go and I look at it, and first of all, the attorney for the Ramseys in that suit was L. Lynn Wood. Aiden, do you remember the name L. Lynn Wood being relevant around the year 2021?
I do remember it being relevant, but I want you to remind me exactly why.
Because he was one of the attorneys out there insisting he had proof that the 2020 election was stolen, getting all sorts of TV appearances, probably writing all sorts of stuff, getting a lot of money coming into his name, and he presented nothing. This is not a political stance of any kind. Regardless of what happened, there could be perfect proof that the entire election was rigged. There could be perfect proof that it wasn't. Fact of the matter is, he put his name all over the place out there and provided nothing. How anybody could trust this man is beyond me. Like, this attorney, there are very few attorneys out there who I know by name. Even Osama bin Laden's attorney has a conscience. Even he was like, I can't defend Diddy.
Which is insane.
Yeah, do you know how those freak-offs must have been freaky if this guy won't defend him? But no, him, Stephen Bertolino, down in Florida for the Laundrie family, he's also up there. This guy is a completely unreliable lawyer. He is not a lawyer, he's a spin doctor.
Did we give Bertolino his award this year?
I don't think we did. We're gonna have to double him up this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to it. Got to find his law offices and send him a copy. Real certificate this time. Maybe even a trophy.
Yeah. Certificate and a trophy every year.
Yeah. The trophy is just a giant ass.
Lawyer of the year.
Yeah. So my point is, L. Lynn Wood is not an attorney. He's a spin doctor. It's just like Steve Fisher, who's not a PI. He's a spin doctor. I understand, Steve. You're literally a PI. You have a license. I think you're a piece of shit. Go photograph some more half-naked 18-year-olds on a beach while you're also shirtless for some reason. Totally unnecessary. I said what I said.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
Didn't know those details about that.
Oh, yeah, weird guy.
Wow.
Very bad vibes from that man.
Man.
But no, so but that's the thing is and this drives me nuts. You go on the there's the JonBenet Ramsey subreddit, there's the JonBenet subreddit, and then there's like Jameson's JonBenet subreddit, which is the worst of them all. But one of them is a group of reasonable people who look at the evidence and say, here's what I conclude from this. And another group of people is the opposite of that, who go and they do everything they can to exonerate the Ramseys, which is not how you do things. If I come across evidence that exonerates the Ramseys, I'm going to be honest about it. I'm not going to look for a way to make it not exonerate them. That's how you're supposed to do it. And I'll say this, I've had some interactions with people on that sub who even watched this show and were disappointed by the direction things went. And I understand that. I'm sorry if I was rude, but I get passionate about this. Anyway,
you passionate?
Yeah,
I couldn't
right?
imagine.
But no, so it's one of the things I saw and what I can't wait to get to is the deposition of Steve Thomas from one of the lawsuits. And I don't think it's even the lawsuit where he was the one being sued. But, they look at it and they're like, oh, look at all of these weird answers from Steve Thomas. All of them are, of course, in text. And they're like, these are such weird answers. He's clearly hiding something. It's like, no, he's being sued. Like, even if he wasn't being sued in this case, he was being sued, which means that they could bring it up in the other case. They might have to ask him the questions again, but point is, he knows how attorneys work. And if you look at the questions L. Lynn Wood was asking, Thomas's responses were perfectly reasonable. And one of my favorites was L. Lynn Wood saying, like, you know, are you aware of this? Again, I'm forgetting a name. It was the CBI's handwriting analyst. And he's like, are you aware? This is the one that basically said he thinks Patsy wrote it, but he wasn't comfortable making that statement to a court. But it was his opinion that the handwriting matched Patsy Ramsey. There were, I think, like 6 different experts. Opinions ranged from it was probably Patsy to it wasn't Patsy. Guess whose experts said it wasn't?
Oh, yeah. Gee, I wonder.
And then I think one from the Secret Service also said he was more confident than not that it wasn't.
Was it the CBI one who had matched like nearly 100 samples?
So that was the thing, is he said like I think 24 out of 26 or something like that. Now I will say that's anecdotal from Steve Thomas. He never said that. I think it's Chet Ubowski. He never said that to the media. What he did say was that there were indications that Patsy wrote the note. That was what he was willing to say. L. Lynn Wood questioning Steve Thomas is like, are you aware that Chet Ubowski has come out and said that he doesn't believe that? I found, and he was like, I showed you this article where Chet Ubowski says that he doesn't think it was Patsy, or that he denies ever saying 24 out of 26, or he denies that, something along those lines.
Yeah.
The only public statement I could find from Chet Ubowski anywhere on the internet was there were indications that it was Patsy Ramsey. L. Lynn Wood did not have to tell the truth during that deposition. He could lie to Steve Thomas and say that this came out just to see what Steve would say. And I think Steve Thomas knew that. Because I've read through the deposition transcript, everything that's available. Not once did I see anything about him actually providing the article. It was just, on this day, this article said, on this day an article came out saying that Chet Ubowski didn't say this. Says he didn't say this. And Steve Thomas is like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't find that article. I've searched. I've checked that date in every relevant newspaper. I've checked it in online archives. I've checked it on the newspapers.com database. I cannot find an article in which Chet Ubowski actually denies that statement.
How is that not some level of perjury?
I don't know.
Like, I understand that it was a deposition, but I mean,
Cops can lie to you during an interrogation. I assume lawyers can do the same thing during a deposition, because your responses are on you. He might have phrased it in a certain way, like, if I showed you a document saying this.
That's the thing, though, is like, you can...
There are also clearly like spots missing from the transcript.
Yeah, well, no, and that's the other thing, is because I am by no means a legal scholar nor a lawyer, but like, you can object to relevance of...
In a courtroom.
In a courtroom, yeah.
Not in a deposition. Your lawyer might be able... Your lawyer can.
I'm surprised I don't know the legality.
His lawyer might have been caught off guard too. Point is, I found no evidence that this article existed anywhere. And I found some niche stuff. I have dug. Sometimes I miss things, but I have dug.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the Martha thing with the boy in the box.
Oh, yeah.
Never publicly identified by the police. All we had was she lived in she lived like in Philadelphia in Fox Chase as a child, according to her. Her parents taught at this school, according to her. And the police found her in Cincinnati in 2002. Using that information, I tracked this woman down and identified her and proved her parents did in fact work where she said and that she had lived where she said. I can find things. I could not find this. I don't think it's real. And when I asked that subreddit full of people who insist Steve Thomas was lying, not one of them could find it either. And then a ton of this stuff is like, oh, well, Jameson says that this, and this, and that she has the documents to prove it. Where are they, Jameson? Where are they, Susan? When you die, do they die with you, or do you have it so that they'll be released? Because here's my opinion. If those documents she has exonerate the Ramseys, why not make them public? Seems to me that they only exonerate the Ramseys if you leave a whole bunch of information out.
does she want the Ramseys to be exonerated?
Seems like it. She's friends with them now.
So
The ones that are left.
in that regard, why would you not release it if you want your friends?
That's
to
what
be
I'm
exonerated?
saying. If you're convinced the Ramseys didn't do it, like she is, why not release the documents that you have that supposedly clear them? Why not give them to police?
The only reason you wouldn't do that is if you wanted them to be guilty. So do you want them to be guilty?
I don't. I am.
Is this a long con? Because if it is, I'm impressed.
It's going on too long because at this point, John's going to die before he can be punished for anything. I will say, the moment that happens, I think a whole lot of people are going to start hitting Burke.
Yeah, more
Because
than
without John left to defend him, I don't know, man. Have you seen the interview he did with Dr. Phil?
Oh yeah, I watched it. I'm also amazed that John still has as many strings to pull as he does.
Me too. Well, I feel like every time he starts running out of money, he comes out of the woodwork to try and, drum some up by doing a documentary or something. No, listen, if what happened is what I think happened right now, which is that that Burke hit her with a flashlight, and that John found her unresponsive and knew he had two choices, one of which was going to be take her to the hospital where she'd probably die anyway, and then they'd have to explain what happened, or, try and hide it and make it look like she was kidnapped, because I think that was probably the goal, was to have the police come search the house and then get the body off somewhere. If that's what happened, I would almost understand. I'd kind of get it. I'd be like, that is a horrible position to be in as a father. And I do think and again, in this version of the story, he's the one that uses the garrote, right? It shouldn't be called a garrote. It was a simple pull knot. But I could understand putting your daughter out of her misery because there's no way she's going to survive. And then it gives you some time to figure out what to do about your son. Because it was an accident, I would almost understand. I would almost feel sympathy. Like, that is a horrible position to be put in as a father. It's everything that happened after that makes me think this guy needs to suffer somehow. So I don't know, but that's where I'm at with JonBenet.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Would you ever offer to have John Ramsey on the show?
Yeah, I have some hard questions for him.
Do you want to make that offer?
And not that he'll ever take it, but yeah, John, if you happen to see this, you listen. Like I said, I am willing to be sympathetic, and that this was all some horrible tragedy, some horrible accident. But there are questions you got to answer, man. If you're willing to come on the show, I'm willing to look at you in a whole new light. Same goes for Chris Proudfoot, by the way. Although he recently called into some weird, a small channel called, I think it was Dolly Vision, that was doing something they call Turtle Island, which, by the way, way to steal a Native American term for your show about missing children. Just weird choice. To vote me off of the island. Like, he called in to do this, which to me tells me he's aware of my existence, which makes it really weird that he's never come out and actually denied anything I've said. Once. Ever. He's never addressed us.
God, we have such a weird existence.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, honestly, I'm more willing to be sympathetic to John Ramsey than I am Chris Proudfoot. But
which is a wild thing to hear you say.
Yeah. No, so listen, also, I think I went through it a little bit in the most recent JonBenet episode, but the interview Burke did with the police on early on in the case, I think it was like the 7th of January, he gave some answers that really heavily contradict what Patsy said. And with a lot of certainty. And then there's the interview he did with the psychologist where he mimes bashing his sister with a hammer. And then 20 years later, he goes on Dr. Phil and doesn't seem any less suspect. I don't know. I would have John on if he wanted to come on. I'd have Burke on. I'd be willing to do that.
I would love to see you talk with Alex Hunter.
I would just have to call him a weenie the whole time. Like, oh my God, dude. Whoa. Also, the fact that he ran back in the 70s on a platform of the city is doing too many plea bargains. If I get in, I'm not going to do plea bargains. I'm going to actually get the criminals and put them in jail.
Mhm.
And then he went on to do more plea bargains than the previous guy, like 30% more. And I don't mean 30% more than that guy was doing. I mean a total of 30% more. Like 2/3 of the criminal cases were going to plea bargains when he came into office. It went up to like 92 by the 90s. His guys were reprimanding Steve Thomas for shooting somebody who had just beaten his wife and then shot at him. Thomas also got in trouble for shooting a guy who came after him with a knife. He was a SWAT officer. You expect those guys to get shot at now and then. It's their job to get shot at. And when they do, it's expected they're going to return fire. You know, it was this whole idea of making Boulder seem like this nice, peaceful little city where nothing bad ever happened. And yet, it did, and they just swept it under the rug every time so that he could maintain an image of being this great guy. And what's weird about it is he didn't even seem to have higher political aspirations. DA was all he seemed to care about being.
Well, it seemed like he was the epitome of, based on the story you just told, if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, I mean, I think his goal was basically, like, make it seem like things were good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at this point it's time to go to supers.
It is indeed. So we'll start off with Nexus for $1.99 saying, glad to see you guys today.
Woo!
Glad to see you. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Glad to see you too.
Aaron for $2.58, love the specificity, says, it's not a cult, also, all hail the Lore Lord.
Thank you. Am I the Lore Lord?
I guess.
I guess so.
Makes sense. Trains and Stuff for $5 says, it's a shame that no one will be punished and sentenced to the electric chair for what they did to her.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. It might happen.
Didn't North Carolina just get somebody by firing squad? North or South Carolina?
If they did, I didn't hear about it. But it's
Yeah, I think it was South Carolina just executed somebody by firing squad. And it was actually his request.
Wow.
He was worried that he would feel like he was being cooked alive in the chair, which he probably would.
Yeah, kind of respect, actually.
Yeah, and
I don't know why we got rid of firing squad.
It was deemed barbaric.
Really? And cooking someone like an electric sausage is more humane?
I think somehow the act of throwing a switch instead of pulling a trigger feels less direct and therefore more humane. And he was worried lethal injection would make him feel like he was drowning, because apparently that can't happen.
Yeah, no, it's also like can be extremely painful, and you can get to a point where you like are paralyzed but feel immense levels of pain for several minutes. I think up to 20 in some cases. Yeah, I would have chosen a firing squad too.
Oh yeah, I would rather firing squad all the way.
Yeah.
It's instant.
Yeah.
Also, if you got a sack over your head, you don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's just over.
Boom. Do you remember 1492? No. You'll remember your death as much as you remember 1492 if it's firing squad. Because, I'm sure so many people in here are going to have to make that choice.
Yeah, exactly. Also, the guy totally deserved it.
Yeah, what'd he do?
I think he, murdered a family.
Yeah.
Like, children included, if I remember correctly.
Maybe he shouldn't have gotten the choice.
I think that death is punishment enough. I don't think we need to make death painful.
Even for child murderers?
Murderers, no. The other thing...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there on.
I think in that case, eaten alive by fire ants.
That'd be good. Or
Or wood chipper feet first.
the honey bowl.
Oh, yeah. The bronze. Yeah, just stick him in the belly of the bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, good ones.
Yep.
Or the scarab beetle one where you cover him in honey and put him into a box with scarab beetles.
Yep. Yeah, more things that we talked about on History Unhinged if you guys haven't seen that
Ooh,
yet.
there's also one where they would take a rat and put it on your stomach and put a bucket over the rat.
And then it would eat its way out.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I'd ever want to go through. Thank God I've never done anything worth going through it for.
Put me in charge of getting rid of the pedophiles. I have ways and means.
He has ways. He has means. Gomb has been a member for 20 months and sent a message I cannot read.
Oh, no, not again. What is it?
Oh, you shouldn't read it either, especially on this stream.
Gomb, are you okay? Do you need to talk to somebody? We have resources.
Appreciate you.
And yes, we will be at Blobfest.
Yes, we will be. Episcopalian for $2 says new fishing channel called the Lure Lodge. When when I can get certain things to function again, might be this summer.
Oh, are you having trouble downstairs?
Yeah, 1 in 4 men, man. 1 in 4 men can't get your fishing pole up,
Oh boy.
let alone reel. Trash Talks for $2 says if the lads are ever on time, they're hostages. Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
T Randall Photo for $5 says stoked that you like the photos, more
They're
stoked
great.
that they're going up in the studio. Unhinged history topic idea. The Abaptist takeover. of
Anabaptist?
Munster. Abaptist?
Anabaptist?
Yes, but there's a no N there. There's B here. Of Munster in 1532. Yeah, I'm sure you know.
I don't, but I will look it up.
Next is for $1.99 says get sick, losers. We already are sick. I've had 16 of these things since we started.
Yeah.
If I've sounded weird, it's because my throat is literally on fire right now. Imagine ripping
The Munster
fireballs-
Rebellion. It was Anabaptist.
Anabaptist. Okay, it was misspelled here.
The Munster Rebellion. Oh, it's Münster, Germany. Münster. Was an attempt by radical Anabaptists to establish a communal sectarian government in the German city of Münster, then under the large Prince Bishopric of Münster in the Holy Roman Empire. Anabaptism is where the Amish come from.
Really?
Yeah, they're an Anabaptist sect.
Interesting.
We got Anabaptist that way.
Trains and
Good
stuff.
old Ezekiel and Jeremiah down the road.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Trains and stuff for $2 says you look like a cone head with that helmet. Funny, because I'm a cone head all the time. I have no idea how to pronounce this username. Is it just backwards?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Let me see.
In backwards, like reinstall.
Reinstall.
Noch. Agiri.
I mean,
Rora?
it's because it's in Cyrillic.
Whatever your name is, for $5 says, Aiden, please don't forget the SCs from Thursday. Twunk Aiden, could you do a weird Bible episode discussing your deviation from the UMC on sexuality? Is that you? I guess I'm
I'm Twunk Aiden.
That's because I'm Twink Aiden. That's why.
Yeah. Yes, I will be doing one reacting to the super chats. It's going to be a little hard because I got to go through the episodes and find the super chats. But yes, I will be doing that, and we might be. I think the goal is to take that entire episode, download each segment, and then stitch them together into one and re-upload it that way. So what we'll do is when we do that, I will go through the super chats and answer them at the end.
Yep.
But yes, I do plan to do it. Don't worry. It just might not be this week.
Gumb, I'm not reading this for $10. Don't tell people this. Don't tell people this. I hope nothing comes up if you search that.
Is that one?
It can be. Now it is.
Bad Gom, down.
That username from Cyrillic again in $5 says, how did the linguistic/cultural understandings of Scripture leading to the unaffirming position on homosexuality?
I think that's a continuation of the last one. Yeah, I can explain. I can explain the Methodist positions because you got two. You've got the United Methodist. You've got the Wesleyan Methodist. Neither of them are like gay people bad. They're just one is basically. Yeah, I'll get into it on Weird Bible. It's a lot to explain.
Fair. Garrett Anderson from $4.99 says, hello, boys. Your show helps me get through 14-hour night shifts plowing snow on a pass. I think Thorn Bussy would really like Hell Let Loose.
Ooh, yeah, you probably would.
I haven't played it yet. I've heard good
I'd
things.
play it with you.
Yeah?
Mhm.
What is it about again?
World War II.
Oh, yeah, I'd be all in on that.
Also, it's like if the old Call of Duty and Battlefield World War II games were more realistic.
Oh, I have seen this. I've also seen like the kill cams from it and how they can like give you PTSD.
It's
Yeah.
the one where it's like, how's the war going for you guys? I can't wait to see my mom. And then it blows up.
Yeah. I would really enjoy that game actually.
We'll have to do that for a stream one night.
Also, Garrett, if you have a dash cam and an internet connection, you should start live streaming yourself plowing.
Okay, first of all,
You
watch your words, brother.
Plowing snow.
Exactly, much better. But
Plowing snow.
get Starlink, get a dash cam.
You would do numbers, and by numbers I mean I would watch.
He would watch.
Big on snow plowing. Big on snow plowing here at the lodge. Cyrillic again for $2 says, remember, I gave y'all F cards, your favorite British cigarette.
Oh,
the
no.
British word for it. So this makes more sense why he's been asking the questions he has.
No, it makes more sense. Yeah, I can definitely get into it. It's just going to require very careful wording.
Yeah. Gomb is giving us the Polak card.
Oh, nice. I've always wanted the P card. Dude, I am collecting passes at this point.
You are?
I have 2 separate F passes. One from college.
Someone's gonna ask you for your papers and you're gonna hand them physical copies of all these and they're going to arrest you. They're gonna find a way.
I've received the ultimate pass at one point, just I was told I wasn't allowed to use it in mixed company. And I haven't used it at all. To be clear.
If it's the same one I think you're talking about, I believe you were given 5.
Yeah, you're right. I was.
And all of us encouraged you to never use them.
Yes. Which I think was smart. No need to use the gamer word.
Yep. It is nuts that it's called the gamer word. T. Randall Photo is a new member.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Gorgeous George for $4.99 says, let's talk about Norse and Astru and cults.
Norse and Asatru.
Asatru.
Okay, oh, yeah. Oh! See, my only worry with covering Asatru is
Asatru?
It's what the Nazis were into.
Oh.
Like their own version of... it was their own weird version of Norse mythology. But yeah, you got to be careful because obviously you're going to be talking about Nazis.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be a good episode, actually.
Yeah.
The Nazi occultism.
Oh my God, yeah.
I can't believe I hadn't thought about doing that.
Also, somebody mentioned earlier, we're going to get to it eventually, but considering she's now trying to make the comeback, as we mentioned
Casey
earlier,
Anthony.
doing the whole Casey Anthony story.
True, yeah.
It's not technically unsolved, but I think we would
That's
probably
one
have
that it's one where I don't really know much about it. I remember it happening, but I was too young to really pay attention.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting and worth covering. Patrick McNeely for $10 says, I know how much you guys love abandoned towns and dislike the government, so you guys should look into the history of...
Our audience gets us.
I know. You guys are so good. You guys should look into the history of Walpack, New Jersey. It's both fascinating and infuriating.
How's that spelled?
Just W-A-L-P-A-C-K.
W-A-L-P-A-C-K?
Gomb, we're not using the gamer word.
Gomb! Oh, that's a creepy little town.
Yeah.
As of the 2020 United States Census, the town's population was 7, a decrease of 9 from the 2010 census count of 16. Aiden, we could buy this town. Is it on the PA border? It is on the PA border. That's important because if I get pulled over with a gun, I need to run.
What?
Oh, yeah, if you get pulled over in New Jersey with a gun, it's best to just run back to Pennsylvania.
Why?
Otherwise, you're going to prison for 5 years.
What?
That is not legal advice, for the record. But no, if you have a handgun in New Jersey and you don't have all the proper permits, they're not. It doesn't matter if it's in your car. Doesn't matter if the gun is here and the mag's in the trunk. Doesn't matter if the gun is locked in a safe. Automatic 5-year prison sentence.
Even if you're a non-resident and you have a CCW in your resident state?
Especially in that case.
Why?
Because New Jersey is a hellhole.
How is that not unconstitutional?
Because it hasn't been challenged in court yet. Now, granted, they do now have to issue a permit. It is now shall issue because of the Bruin decision. But yeah, if you get pulled over in New Jersey with a gun in the car, don't talk about the gun. comply with everything the officer asks you to do, and don't let them search your vehicle without a warrant. Again, if you're capable of getting back to Pennsylvania, you could just not go back to New Jersey.
Anyone who's even vaguely relevant to New Jersey legislation, are you asking for more death by cops in your state? Are you asking for more bad press in relation to officers in your state? Because that's how you get it.
Do you know about their duty to retreat laws?
No, I don't.
So do you know the law in Pennsylvania? If somebody comes onto your property, it's a stand your ground state.
Yeah.
Castle doctrine, I believe.
Yeah.
In fact.
Yeah.
Which basically means if somebody comes onto your property in Pennsylvania and you have a no trespassing sign, you don't even need to warn them. If you do warn them and they continue remaining on your property and you perceive them to be a threat, you're good. Pull the trigger. You cannot get in trouble for it. As long as they're not running off of your property.
Yeah.
If they're running off your property, you shoot them in the back. Yeah. But as long as you shoot them in the front, you're clear in PA. They could be at your fence line and you could be in an upstairs bedroom. In New Jersey, they can enter your home. They can chase you through your home, and you cannot use a firearm until you're locked in a room you can't escape from. If you are in an upstairs bedroom with one door to it and two windows, New Jersey law states that you must flee out one of the windows instead of using a firearm to defend yourself.
So I'm just supposed to give up my home?
Basically, yeah.
And anything in it?
Uh-huh. You're not even allowed to defend your own life until you are cornered, at which point it's usually too late.
I will never
Crazy,
live in New
right?
Jersey. I will literally never live in New Jersey.
Yeah, no, it's no. Granted, unfortunately, it does not really get much better until you get down to like Virginia. But Virginia's got nice beaches.
Thank God PA is PA.
Oh, PA is great. Texas of the North.
It's literally the Texas. I've been saying that for a decade. It's the Texas of the North.
As I've been saying, Pennsylvania had a choice. We could either have liquor laws or gun laws, and we chose the former.
You know what? I'm cool with it.
Also, somehow, we are the one place with a state monopoly on something where it's cheaper than everywhere else.
The monopoly being?
Alcohol.
Oh, right.
Not everywhere else, but I am always surprised when I go to like Maryland and alcohol is more expensive.
Yeah. I hate Pico, and let me pay my bill. But I like just about everything else.
Yeah, we got to bring Teddy Roosevelt back from the grave to get rid of Pico.
Mm-hmm. Are they a monopoly?
Basically. But since they only operate in Pennsylvania, the federal government has no jurisdiction over them.
The state government would, though.
It would. But unfortunately, Pico has a lot of power in the state of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Enough power to criminally enforce
Probably.
Policies?
Probably.
I guess so.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's great. Anyway, we have more questions.
We do
We
indeed.
have so many more questions.
Cheyenne Tetralt sent us 3. I'll read them all in one go.
Okay.
Cumulative $50. Thank you very
wow,
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very kind.
Hayden's just wanted to pop the idea into the chat for you to consider. Everything you guys cover is a mystery in some form or another. Missing 411 cases, true crime, cryptids, and other unexplainable or mysterious things of the world. You go over the history and the background of the topic, present counterpoints and arguments, and then most likely theories and your personal hypotheses. So for the idea, I thought maybe Friday videos could become Lore Unsolved, and Monday would be the Lore Lodge Live or something along those lines, just an idea I've had for a while.
And it's basically what we do.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
I think people have a misconception that the live show is supposed to be just like the Friday show.
No, it's essentially supposed to be an opinion piece based on the Friday show.
Yeah.
I don't know how we could market that more clearly other than just saying it almost every time we do the show.
Yeah, I think it's just that's what we've been trying to do. There might be a way that we can make it more definitive for people, but yeah, I mean that's kind of been the goal. It was never intended to be like as intense or serious. It was always meant to be a more discussion kind of thing, if that makes sense.
That's why there's the Q&A at the end. And then A7XM Shadows 19 for 199 says, Killdozer against Pico in the works now? I will neither confirm nor deny the presence of a Komatsu D355A with armor plating and concrete and cameras and firearms attached. And an upgraded cooling system, for that matter.
Where's Whistling Diesel when you need him?
Tennessee. You know, maybe we should. Maybe we should see if he'd be willing to cart that thing up here and park it in front of Pico's headquarters.
That would be really funny. That would be so funny. And then we can take it down to IDX's headquarters, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's been going after...
I'm going to erect a giant statue of Luigi from Mario Brothers outside of the Independence Blue Cross headquarters.
Mm-hmm. Well, have you seen what Cody's been doing?
The vigilante stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
It's great.
I want to do that. I was like, damn, this looks fun.
If you haven't seen his videos, you go watch them.
I saw one where he tracked down a truck. Did you see the one where he tracked down a truck that had been basically stolen from one of his viewers?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. He just basically harassed this guy until he admitted he had the truck.
Yeah.
And it worked. And you can see the cops actively trying not to actually do anything about it. And my favorite part is the end of the video when he actually like gets the truck and he's standing in front of all the cops and he's, getting the keys and everything. And they're just kind of standing around watching. And he's like, you guys should probably like ask me for paperwork proving that I'm allowed to take this truck, right? No? Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this now. Cody, Whistling Diesel, just officially, hello. Do you have any interest in harassing a corporation that has unlawfully terminated our service for electricity, despite the fact that our electric bill is fully paid off and the gas bill, which we've attempted to pay for 5 months, has been out of our control and completely inaccessible by us from a monopolistic corporation here in Pennsylvania?
Also, if you want to come on a History Unhinged, we'd love to have you.
We would love to have you in general. But yeah, if you want to help us harass a monopolistic corporation into allowing us to pay our bill, that'd be great.
Literally, we're trying to give you money.
Yeah. If anybody wants to clip that, send it to him and see if he's willing to do something with us. That'd be amazing. Because I really just want this problem resolved. I've spent 5 months trying to get through to Pico multiple times on the phone, online. They don't allow you to go in person from everything that I've seen. So, yeah, I would like to pay our bill. I would like to have access to our account. I would like to not have a problem.
Yep.
You caused the problem, Pico. And I'm officially angry. And you can ask him. I don't get angry.
No, this is usually how I am a long time before you get this way.
Yeah. So my patience is running thin. And if it goes on for, I'll give you another week. Beyond that, lawyers will be involved, and I have more time on my hands than you think. Because when I have a reason to, I can work really fast.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
So anyway, we'll get back to it. JD-FXST for Canadian $5 says, would you ever look into the case of Melanie Ethier? She went missing in New Liskeard, Ontario in 1996.
Melanie what?
Melanie Liskeard, Liskeard.
Liskeard? Wait, how is it spelled?
Melanie, Melanie. And then Ethier, Ethier.
Ethier. Okay.
Went missing in New Liskeard, Ontario.
New Liskeard.
Also, yeah, for you guys confused, our electric bill is fully paid off.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to have a separate account for gas because Pico doesn't know what they're doing. And I haven't been able to access that account in like several months, despite continuously trying to try and pay the bill that they keep sending us. But no, our electric is fully paid off every month. I can access an account, no problem. The balance is currently 0. And yet the majority of the building, not the whole building, but the majority of the building does not have power right now, but we still have gas. Let me know how that makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't. So, we've contacted Pico several times.
Including 2 times in the last 4 days.
Yes. Actually 3 times. Twice today and 3 times in the last 72 hours. And they have still not even let us be able to access the account. They have not allowed us to be able to pay the bill.
There's a lot on this.
A lot on that case?
This girl, yeah.
Throw it on the content sheet.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that one in my back pocket.
But yeah, no, doesn't make sense. And now it is officially impacting our business. Based on the research that I did while we were recording the episode earlier this evening, they did not do the legal requirements that they would need to in order to terminate our service. They did not make us aware 10 days prior. Nobody made an attempt to contact us when they shut off the service. It is still within the bounds of winter. They legally cannot shut off the service before March 31st, yet they have anyway. So multiple instances here of criminal behavior, not to mention the fact that they have prevented us from paying the bill and even accessing the account to check the statement. By all means attempted, multiple times for multiple months. So anybody, a lawyer in southeastern Pennsylvania, we'd be happy to talk to you. If you in anywhere affiliated with Pico, would be happy to talk to you, because I would love to just get this situation resolved. But if Pico does not make this right and it continues to affect our business, I'm going to make it their biggest problem.
Yep.
Anyway. Anything about Melanie Ethier that you're liking?
Just mainly there's a lot of coverage. Like there was the Wikipedia page is lengthy, which is usually a good sign.
Nice.
When it comes to looking into a case. I love that we get to do that too. Take stuff that is like well documented, but still mysterious, and show it to a larger audience than would otherwise see it.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Anonymous 13 for $4.99 says, Susan, you didn't do shit has got to go on merch. I agree.
That, as well as what was it? She love locked my cave till I see TK.
Yes.
Yeah.
Johnny J 518 for $2.22 says, have you ever heard of Hesden Castle?
No.
Neither have I. We'll have to look into it.
I will look. How's it spelled? Hesden. Hesden.
Hesdin and then Castle.
Apparently used to prank its visitors.
Interesting. Also, MM is a new member.
Thank you.
William No for $20, thank you very much, says, give me a video on the mine wars in Bloody Mingo and My Life is Yours. P.S. The WVSP were made to stomp out unions and the sheriff killed the mayor to know his wife biblically. Plus armored trains were involved. That sounds sick.
Yo, hang on.
Read that again. Beware, the know his wife biblically was in mine.
So I heard Mime Wars. I know, I heard Mime Wars, not Mine Wars. And I was like, yo, the Mime Wars?
Oh, the mine.
A silent conflict. What do you know? Yeah, the Mine Wars in Bloody Mingo. And I can take a look. Is that West Virginia State Police made to stomp out unions? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Well, I will say, I've only had good interactions with Pennsylvania State Police.
Yeah. I've only had good interactions with any PA police in general.
Yeah. One guy was, well, except Ridley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one guy was basically like, you know, where are you headed? And I literally just pulled into my apartment complex because it was at a road where it went from 55 to 35 really abruptly up in State College. And he was like, where are you headed? And I was like, here. And he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. He was like, Good news is it's your first violation. You pay the ticket. It'll go away. You don't need to worry about it. And I was like, yeah, I know. I didn't see the speed limit sign change. And he was like, yeah, I know. That's why I sit there. Which I'm guessing that most of the people he pulls over probably aren't as chill about it as I was, where I was just kind of like, damn it. Like,
that's the thing is, if you treat them like people, because they are, generally they really respect that, and it goes well for you.
Yeah.
Granted, we are two young white guys, so
we
recognize that.
Well, I would be called paleface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not pretending we don't have a little bit of privilege there, but I think it's generally good advice, no matter who you are. Anyway, Sir Jack Lucerne for €2 says, "Do you know about the Emanuela Orlandi case?" We're getting a lot of recommendations.
We are getting a lot of recommendations. I'm gonna put that in my phone too. How do you spell it?
EMANU ELA.
Orlandi?
Orlandi, yes.
15-year-old Vatican citizen.
That's wild.
Wow. Yeah, I can take a look into it.
Wolflord Brand 1 for $15. Thank you very much. Says, for the past month or two, you're not popping up in my suggested/most watched list, even though I watch religiously. I've had to actively search for the channel to find it, even though I'm subbed and have notifications on.
Yeah, we're currently trying to work out with YouTube what's going on.
And by that, we mean we've had more than one meetings with YouTube where we've given them actual data that I've collected from the channel and said, hey, right here, we had increasing numbers of impressions, views, and click-through rates. Then all of a sudden, for a video about a certain ship that we put out, it got an eighth of the impressions and general promotion data points.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything after that seemed to be capped at around about that level.
It's wonderful.
What's up with that? And they said, "Oh, we don't know, but we'll kick it up the chain because we really want to help you and we want to make sure that you're getting everything taken care of that you need to get taken care of." But yeah, we don't know. We don't shadow ban anybody. It's not what we do.
It's wonderful.
If you couldn't tell, there's a lot of things that just happen to be hitting at the same time here at the lodge.
Yeah, it's great.
Our patience is really running thin. Even though we proactively keep trying to fix the problems, large corporations don't want the problems fixed because they make more money that way.
Mm-hmm.
Really annoying because they're inescapable. Anyway. Gom says he apologizes for the rowdy super chats. I didn't think we'd be this serious tonight. Have a good night, Nor lads. I'll be sleeping by the time you read this.
It's all good.
Gom, if you're re-listening to this tomorrow, we appreciate you always. But yeah, sometimes it's just not the time or place. Next is for $9.99. Says, if anybody could be punished by the law for the murder right now, who do you think it should be? Also, I'll be counting the days to myself until a Mokalembembe video.
Oh, good God. Just adding in more and more.
Yep.
More and more stuff. Oh, I think I know which one.
For JonBenet.
Yeah. If I had to put somebody away for it?
Yeah, right now.
I think the most likely person to have caused the injury that I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. I think it's most likely that she's dead because of something Burke did.
Yeah, I mean, the case for that seems by far the strongest.
Yeah. So I think Burke. If somebody had to go to jail, I'd say Burke.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. Trash talks for $5. Well, that's pretty cheap to get trash to talk. Anyway. White Trash Panda here. I've been telling you for years to stop trying to please the algorithm, make the content you want to make, and the numbers will come in time.
But when we do that, the numbers don't come. The numbers go down.
That's the problem is like...
We did what we wanted to do for a while, and it didn't come, and then we started being like, what's the algorithm want? And then we started to get popular, and we were able to actually do this for a living.
It's kind of a yo-yo thing with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the strategy that works. Sometimes you kind of have to do what the data points indicate.
Like, for example, I want to do JonBenet right now, and YouTube's algorithm keeps saying no.
Yeah, to give you context for some of like the actual back end of what we can see analytics wise, and by what we can see, I mean the little bits and pieces YouTube gives us that then I have to take into Excel and actually make sense of. Generally, for a goods video, we will get anywhere between 4 to 8 million impressions per video. When things are going well, we were there for a period of time, and then we did JonBenet, and then that dropped down to 2, which was 50% of our low end for impressions of normal, and the promotional level from YouTube was I think at about 60% when the normal is somewhere around like 80 to 85, 90 plus when it's really good. So 60 in relation to promotions from YouTube is really bad. Which what that tells us on our end is because of the content of that video, specifically the JonBenet video, they were not promoting it to people. And the vast majority of the people who watched it had to actively go search for it. And therefore the views and numbers were much lower based on the contracts that we have with sponsorships. We have to meet certain criteria, yada, yada, yada. So like, it's not just that, you know, we can take the hit for, you know, a few videos because we're passionate about it. It's like, theoretically, like if in a perfect world we could, the problem is that as Mattis has said, we have contractor employees that we have to pay. We have rent we have to pay for the studio. We have utilities. We have equipment fees. You know, we have our own independent lives we have to afford, but also we have contractual agreements with sponsors that we have to guarantee them a certain amount of viewership, yada, yada, yada. Like it's there are so many wheels turning that for as much as we'd love to be able to just say, doesn't matter, we're just going to do whatever we want to do and to hell with what the results are, we can do that to an extent. But the amount of people that rely on us to provide income in one way, shape, or form means that we only have so much leeway in how risky we can be in that regard.
If we get to the point where we're getting Wendigoon's views, you can bet I will be doing whatever the hell I want to do.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it won't matter if a video does half as well as usual, because it'll be doing so much better than it currently does.
Yeah.
But we need to be seeing like consistently 500,000 views a video before I can even consider that. Once we get to the point, like once we were at like 250,000 per video, which is where it was sitting for a while there, that was great. Like I was like, okay, cool, I can start to branch out a little bit more. And then the views collapsed again. Yeah. So 250 was not enough. 500 might be enough.
And that's the thing. We were in a position where we were starting to make capital investments into other people's channels and starting to like try and look into hire editors, so that way then I could work as like
more of a producer
in the role of helping other channels start and grow, and just take some of what we've learned and kind of like, you know, act as a pedestal and like a jump off point for them. But once things started to hit a downturn, we then had to go to these people that we were in the middle of talking with and getting them started and be like, hey, we can't now, because we literally like we can't afford the time that it would take. We can't afford to bring on an editor now because the videos are tanking right now. So it's just that's the problem, is like it's if it was just the two of us and it wasn't our primary source of income, we could be a lot more wild with what we did. But there's just it has turned into enough of a machine at this point. And when I say that, I mean there's a lot of cogs and gears and levers and pulleys in the works. That we can't afford to throw a wrench in it, because the amount of time it would take to fix if it broke is more than we can afford.
Yeah. I think a lot of people maybe like who are newer to the channel don't realize like this is our full-time job. Like we took a massive risk leaving our 9 to 5s to do this, and it's paid off for the most part. But when there's a downturn, it gets scary, you know, and we got to, again, as much as I would love to just cover whatever the hell I want, right now we don't have the audience to do that. Yeah. So one day we're getting there.
Yeah.
Because trust me, like I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed researching for this Viking video. I was having such a good time. I'm also still very frustrated with like trying to understand where the hell everybody went. But now I think I've got a handle on why one saga doesn't match the other. And why this one spot may have been purely invented. And now I can just look at the archaeology.
Yeah. It's fun. And yeah, for a couple of them.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I love my job.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like for a couple of people that just commented, like that's the thing is like if it was just that we were making bad content, then we would just say, all right, we're not meeting our standards and we need to buckle down a bit more.
Yeah, it's like we're doing good work and it's just not getting views.
And that's the thing is like the reason that we feel comfortable saying that is we can look at the videos that we used to make and the videos now and feel comfortable that we have in fact improved.
I shudder when I watch our old stuff.
Same. I know. Even just from like within the last year, it's crazy how much we've improved since then. But also, we have the data points that show when a video does badly because people thought it was bad.
Or because they just weren't interested.
Or YouTube itself is not showing it to people.
Yeah, and most recently it has been the latter.
Yeah.
And that's mostly been YouTube just isn't showing it.
And it like if it was because
the Giants of Patagonia video, for example, like almost a full 2% below our usual click-through rate.
Yeah.
And it's the best video we've had recently.
Yeah.
In terms of performance.
Yeah.
The CTK video, about a 1.5% higher click-through rate, less than 100,000 views as of tonight.
And for those who may not be aware, single percentage click-through rates are normal. Like
that's common.
Yeah, like it is uncommon for it to get above like.
It's weird if it's above like 6
or 7. Yeah.
Like a great video for us is like 8% click-through rate.
Yeah, that is unheard of for us.
Yeah.
But also horrifically bad if it's below like 4.
Yeah.
So it's like each metric has such different numerical values tied to what is and isn't good. So it's really it's a lot, and yeah.
It's a lot easier to explain if you come from a internet analytics background.
Which in certain ways we both did.
Yeah.
Before this, he did marketing and I did advertising. So
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Next question.
Anyway,
we're not complaining, by the way. We're just trying to explain so that you guys understand, because we can tell there's questions.
Yes, yeah. It's more like if we seem concerned, if we seem stressed, especially even just through like us asking you guys what you want to see and just trying to figure all that out, these are the back end reasons why.
Yeah. Also, I will say if more people were on the Patreon, we could kind of ignore the algorithm more.
Oh yeah, and if there are certain,
which again is not me begging for money. It's just like that is kind of one of those things that like if you ever wonder what's the point in joining the Patreon, because there's not a ton of exclusive content that goes on there. We're working on trying to find something. Like, for example, bloopers, I think would be solid, but that just requires Aiden having a little bit more time in his day to edit.
And if you guys have requests on specific things you'd like to see, that would be helpful, because even if it's not necessarily something we think we could do, just getting the ideas from you guys would help us steer in the right direction.
Yeah, but if, like, for example, if everybody who watches a video in the first 24 hours it came out were subscribed to the Patreon for $1, we would not need to even have YouTube monetization on. Like, we'd still have it because otherwise YouTube doesn't push the videos, but like that's what I'm talking about. Like, we wouldn't need sponsors for our videos.
Yeah.
If we got to a point where we were bringing in the money that we're bringing in on YouTube on Patreon, I don't think we'd take sponsors.
No, we wouldn't need to.
I think we would just have the videos have no ad slot. You have your YouTube ads, but there wouldn't be sponsorships.
Yeah.
Because the only reason we do those is to make up for the gap between what we make on YouTube and what we need to make to run the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's enough business talk.
Yes.
Questions?
Wolf Lord Brand 1 has been a new member.
Thank you.
Eleanor de Howler Werewolf Queen for $9.99 says, 1, Happy St. Patrick's Day. 2,
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day, lad. 2, can we test the DNA? 3, what is fully confirmed? 4, who wasn't leaking stuff in this case? 5, is there anything we can do to support the wrongly accused?
Okay. What was the... Okay, first one, how do you say that? 2 was...
Can we test the DNA?
They have tested the DNA. It's just that the sample is so corrupted and so mixed that you're basically finding a person who doesn't exist at this point.
3, what is fully confirmed?
I don't know how to answer the question.
Maybe in terms of like what evidence is in fact fully confirmed?
That's the hard part, is depending on who you ask, that answer changes. I'd say for one, John Ramsey definitely lied about that flight. That's confirmed. But yeah, it would be hard to answer that question, honestly. What was the next one?
Next one was who wasn't leaking stuff in this case?
Most of the police officers involved. The people leaking were primarily within the DEA's office, within the Ramsey attorney camp, and then a couple of rogue police officers.
And then 5, is there anything we can do to support the wrongly accused?
I think they've mostly moved on with their lives since. Really, at this point, dragging them back into it probably would do more harm than good.
Yeah. Giant Tetrol for Canadian $5 says, you guys might want to consider separating the videos and the Monday lives into respective channels. It might help to make a new one for the lives.
We have been considering that. The difficulty would be getting that monetized.
Yeah, we might be able to do that on what we thought we were going to use the Lore Lounge for and just turn it into Lore Lads. But yeah, we'll talk. Lisa Shelton for $4.99 says,
I worked really hard at building that gaming channel. But we could rebrand my personal channel and then I could build out a new one.
No, I think you should just keep it. You've done a lot of work on that.
True.
Lisa Shelton from $4.99 says, I thought this case didn't get you the views. This is a nice crowd. Your friend Bluebird 777.
Yeah, this I was honestly pretty surprised at the viewer numbers tonight. Kind of caught me off guard. So, like I said, it's given me the drive to maybe hit this again sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Ellen is back again for $5 saying, what tests can we do with the evidence we still have, and how many of those tests have been done so far?
It's basically at the point where they've done everything they possibly can. That DNA evidence, like I said, is the only thing that's really still in dispute. And, I mean, from what the police have said, it sounds like the DNA doesn't say anything about the case whatsoever. Whereas John Ramsey keeps insisting that it will, for some reason. I think it's because he knows it won't.
Makes sense. Teasmosaurus for 1666, love the specificity, says, would you consider a detailed watch through and critique of the JBR Netflix doc, and is there a chance you'll make something about Casey Anthony? That sounds like a Mattis channel thing.
Yeah, that is the difficulty in doing something like that with the Netflix documentary is the rules about is basically DMCA stuff. I want to get copyright claimed. And I don't know. I don't know if doing it the same way you can do it with YouTube videos would fly. I don't know if Netflix would try and have that taken down. I could probably do it as a live stream. I don't know how long it would stay up, but I could try. It would be hard to do it in the standard format, because if I spend a week on that and Netflix copyright claims it, things get even worse.
Yeah. Will Armstrong for 556, love the specificity, says, hello, Lord Lads. If you do want trophies for the lawyers, I can help. I 3D print and design stuff. Want me to follow up via email? The answer is yes.
Yes, please.
Ellen is back for $5, says, about the woman with the play, why has she not been subpoenaed?
That's a great question. I would assume it's because she doesn't actually have any of the stuff she claims to have.
I feel like that would make a lot of sense.
I feel like either the cops already have everything she has, or she's lying about what she has.
Vengeful Fork for $5. I'm just going to say, go see a doctor, please.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What is it?
Read it. Not sure what kind of doctor you need to see just yet, but see one of them.
I'm in your walls.
That might also be the reason. Duo Black Rose for $5 says, I think your theory is the most plausible. Did you check out that gun shop I recommended? Hope the birds don't keep you up. I gotta go.
I have not yet gotten out there, but I am going to be out in Pottstown tomorrow, so I might give it a shot. Unless the one you said was Chesco, in which case I do know of that one, and I have been planning to head over there to take a look at their selection as well. And yeah, dude, I don't know. I know you're saying that we have different experiences with the birds, man. I don't know I know you're one town over. I don't know which town it is. It's just like, I have never had the birds chirp at 1 a.m. outside my window here in Phoenixville.
Yeah, it's getting warm. They're starting to get a little, I don't know, Their clocks are off for some reason.
Yeah, it's difficult because my alarm is like birds chirping.
Oh, well, that's your mistake.
Well, it's exacerbating it for sure. Well, it was never a problem before.
No, that is shocking behavior.
What do you mean?
I've never heard of this before in my life.
It's one of the alarms that comes with your phone.
I've never even looked at it.
Really?
Yeah.
I find it to be much more pleasant than like, meh, 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 you know?
It definitely is, but it would never wake me
Also,
up.
it's like, that doesn't wake me up either, but, you know, tweet, tweet, tweet. Yeah.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the beeps, the creeps, and the sweeps.
But I need essentially the equivalent of an air raid siren to get me to actually get out of bed in the morning, so.
Do you just have Cat wake up and then just be like, "Ooga," right in your
No,
ear?
it's usually the actual cat.
Oh, yeah. She, like, kneading your face or something?
Yeah, well, no, believe it or not. Actually, it's usually, like this morning, I was sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt a shift on my calf. And I looked down and I realized that Luna, our cat, had taken up the entirety of the space between my legs in search of warmth.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is that if you've ever tried to fall asleep, usually it's hard to fall asleep without moving to some extent. And so when you're trying to not
Disturb a cat?
disturb a cat while also falling asleep, not easy. Especially
Ella
trying-
does that.
Yeah.
My husky does that.
Yeah, that's got to be interesting.
You're just sitting there. You're literally like you're just like, okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot about a person about what they're willing to tolerate from an animal.
Very true.
Jimmy M, who's been a member for 9 months, says, heading up to Phoenixville in September for my vacation. Any suggestions as to where I should visit? Here, first of all.
Yeah, we have the lodge. The lodge is a good place. If we are having an event of some kind, let us know that you're going to be in town. We might be able to get you in.
Yeah.
Because we do little stuff downstairs. As for other local stuff, you got to get out to St. Pete's.
Yeah.
Really cute little old mining village, quarry village. Beautiful. It's on some game lands, so beautiful hiking spots. Great river, great restaurant right there. Awesome for brunch, except for the one time I brought Aiden and Kat there for brunch, and for some reason it was terrible. I still just don't understand how that happened.
No, it's because none of us knew, but it was like their fall fest.
Yeah, so there
the
were
whole
just
place
so
was
many
mobbed. Oh, it was so funny.
Yeah, if you like shopping, King of Prussia Mall is 10 minutes down the road. Valley Forge National Park is right here, great for hiking too.
If you're going to Phoenixville in particular, Rivertown Taps has amazing food and
Yeah.
beers.
Bluebird Distillery,
Yep.
awesome cocktails.
Bluebird's also great. Or not Bluebird. Boardroom is also
Yeah.
fantastic.
And if you just want to go party, Molly McGuire's is a great time on the weekends.
Yeah.
And that's probably where you'll find us.
Yeah, most likely. Elsie for $5 says, would love to see you guys cover more cryptids. Have you gone over the Mothman or Flatwoods Monster yet? Mothman, yes. But
Actually, I think I've hit both of those in the past. I almost went back and did Mothman again, and there's just nothing.
yeah.
Like, there's a couple of newspaper articles, and aside from that, it's books. And most of the books are not discerning in their source collection. It's kind of like if David Paulides wrote a book about Mothman.
Oh, yeah. Are we ever going to finish the PA cluster?
It's a cluster, all right. Yeah, I went back and I looked through them, and I was like, yeah, a lot of these are weird, but more in like a someone kidnapped this child way, and not a Bigfoot kidnapped this child way. Or a this child fell into a portal kind of way. Like, Michael Reel was even pretty not mysterious, and at least that one I could be like, maybe it was a portal. It wasn't a portal. Although I do have some questions about the explanation he gave on that one other channel. Because he explained most of it, but there were still some things that I was like, wait, what? You didn't really cover that.
Vampire from Pluto for $2 says, can the Lore Lodge Navy have a Viking longboat?
Absolutely. I would be insulted if it didn't.
As would I. Although the flagship has got to be the HMS Surprise. or the USS Constitution, depending. We'll see. We'll see.
We're gonna steal the USS Constitution of Independence.
I'm so down. I'm so down. It's not even funny. Abigail Stewart has been a member for 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Says, you did give the laundry lawyer the award a few streams back, and I have definitely been a member for longer than 6 months. Yeah, so that's...
Sometimes people have to rejoin, and then it doesn't collect. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Kellen is here.
Hey.
Howdy.
Hiya.
Yeah, I'm imagining he
How you
probably tried
doing?
to send a chat and it didn't go through.
Probably.
Alyssa, I am so sorry. Jackie Leck? I'm assuming that's right. If I'm wrong, let me know. For $2 says, the boats, a.k.a. scaphism, worst punishment.
Yeah, the boats. That was the one with the honey, I think, and the insects.
Oh. Yeah, I hope I don't go out like that. Elena says, feel better soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Both of us, yeah.
We're ill. Stephen Bell from History of Everything was also ill.
Yes, I think he gave us the ill. Not his fault. Just a matter of being in close proximity and talking.
We just shouldn't have been making out so much, you know?
Yeah. Don't give me those eyes. Incredible. We're never beating the allegations.
Never.
Griff for $5 says, a while ago you mentioned doing a video on the moon landing. Whatever happened to that idea? What came up? Something came up. This was like last year.
Yeah. Be honest, I don't know.
Oh, I think it was Sebastian Rogers.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going to do it, and then Sebastian Rogers happened. Yeah, I might be able to hit that at some point.
Yeah. We need more conspiracy ideas.
I will admit part of it is that I am simply not a science person. I am not a science man.
I'm an oil man.
So people are going to be like, the Kepler belt. And I'm going to be like, Kepler had a belt?
We could probably see if, like, Kyle Hill would be interested in doing it with us.
True.
I feel like, well, he's got millions, so.
He does.
We'll hit it. We'd love to do more science stuff. We just need a scientist. Oh, the soup is almost ready. Oh, I'm excited. Cat's making chicken soup.
Oh, dude. That sounds good. That sounds nice.
This woman takes care of me, and I am.
She really does. Our girlfriends are great.
They are great.
They're awesome.
They really are. We're lucky men. Kellen, the official data for 556 says, just saying, sup, boys, Yellowstone 2025.
Yellowstone 2025. Kellen, are you week 1 or week 2?
I feel like he's week 1.
Probably.
I messaged
Assuming the national park still is there.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. Donnie, my boy. No, not the national parks. Go cut something else.
Yeah.
Go cut like I don't know. We don't need to have our military in 53 different African countries. Could cut one of those.
Let them do their own thing. How about we he said week 1.
Nice.
How about we just like give them some cool stuff, and then they'll like us, and then we can have some really cool trade with them, and then maybe we build some factories in some African countries to give them a stronger market, and then improve relations with those developing nations and the United States, so it doesn't feel as much like we're thieving them for their natural resources, and we're actually like having a good economy and moving away from China at the same time.
Or invest
like what China's doing in Africa right now.
Or we could also invest in our nuclear power grid and start exporting energy to Mexico and Canada.
Yeah, and strong arm the fossil fuel industry to do R&D for nuclear reactors.
Josh Shapiro, man, I got a plan for this. We just got to talk.
Yeah, high-speed rail is possible as long as you make it monetarily incentivized for the fossil fuel companies, which is possible.
Mm-hmm. And you can also make nuclear energy a monetarily incentivized program for them.
Yep.
The only reason they're resistant to it is that they're worried that they'll go out of business if it becomes a thing.
Yeah, if you give them enough tax breaks to make up for the money that it's going to cost them to do the R&D and the installation, might work.
Yeah. We're almost through.
Almost through. Hang on, it reloaded, so I got to scroll back.
good God.
I know.
I thought we were so much further ahead.
So was I.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. Okay.
God.
So
many. Thank you guys, but it's so many.
I know. Gom says, "Yo, weird Bible from Thursday. We're working on it."
Yeah. So Weird Bible is it. I mean, the internet and my computer shut off, and it was just a whole thing. So we put them on unlisted, and they're gonna get stitched together, and then I'm gonna answer the super chats, and it'll be all one nice little package for you.
Ditternegg for just a regular chat says, "How about the wind turbines being completely useless and are actually a con?" So just a heads up, in case anybody is thinking that because of the clip that they saw from Landman or watching the show as a whole, that was false. They become carbon neutral within 5.5 months of installation. That was just wrong. I think that was meant to be consumed as propaganda, not necessarily from the developmental side of the writers, but I think like that character has lived off of propaganda, and I think that was the point. Unfortunately, they don't have a counter argument in that show, but knowing people who work in the climate sector and having a lot of ins into that format, having discussions about how inaccurate that show is actually hilarious. Because, yeah, if anybody tells you that wind turbines never make up their carbon footprint throughout their entire, 20-year life cycle, that is very wrong. It's less than 6 months. From soup to nuts, from mining the materials out to production, to hauling it out on a semi, to installation, and upkeep with oil and lubrication, all that. Like, about 5.5 months. Less than 6.
And crazy thing is, it's still nowhere near as efficient as nuclear.
Yep.
Thorium salt reactors, guys. Totally clean.
It is amazing. It is amazing the opportunities that stand before us.
China's got one now.
China has they have the largest investment in nuclear energy in the world right now, and they have for years.
I think most of our leaders are stupid people.
No, they're just greedy.
Yeah, but being greedy to the point where you are allowing a hostile foreign nation to surpass you in technological advancement because in the short term you're making money is stupidity.
It is. That is fair.
You ever play the game Civilization?
Yes. It's also the same thing that happened in 2008, except instead of the banks, it's the government.
Yeah. Let's, I don't know, the fact that...
Just remember, nobody can bail out the government.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I just feel like
with your taxes.
There's no good reason to not be doing it.
Nope.
Anyway,
moving on. Oh. Anyway, Cody Casada for $9.99 says, "Been watching on and off for since the TikTok that blew up about the Wendigo."
Wow.
Yeah,
I've been here a while.
OG for sure.
I didn't even have a beard yet.
You guys have been with me through tough and a lot of hours of work and a few jobs. Also, Southern Ohio near West Virginia is not boring. So glad you've been here as long as you have, but that last point is debatable.
You know, well, I'll give it a shot. I'll give Southern Ohio a shot.
Your lakes can be fun. I'll give you that.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for being here so long.
Cyrillic for $5 says, "Arbor irrigation installer, dash the Tree of Liberty quote." Oh. Wait, what? Arbor? Oh. Nice. I like it.
Nice.
Yeah. Big fan of that, actually. Gomb says, "Use the gamer word, please."
No.
Please.
No.
Pam has thoughts as a new member. Thank you. Liesel for $4.99 says, "Been a fan for years, but never caught a live stream. You guys have brightened so many dark days. Thank you both so much for creating the lodge." Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That means a lot.
We created the lodge because we wanted to do something cool, but we've only been able to maintain it because you guys are here. So thank you.
That is very true.
This is a reciprocal relationship.
A symbiotic issue.
Yes. So that's why we ask you guys so many questions, because we want to make sure it stays as long as it can.
Usually there's one host and a lot of parasites. You are a lot of hosts and we are one parasite.
Exactly. We are the Lodge.
Yes.
Absolute Zero has been a member for a month.
Thank you. Yeah, we don't. Do we have a term for fans of the show? Lodger sounds like a slur.
No, yeah, that sounds
That
like a
sounds
slur.
like
I was
a slur.
literally just thinking that.
My Lodger.
Stop. Gom, that's as close as you're getting.
New goal. We're gonna put up a poll for figure out what fans of the show are called. Give us suggestions in the comments.
How many years have we
Give
done
us
this?
suggestions. So here's what I need you guys to do. In the CT Ka video from Friday, go to the comments there and give us the suggestions so YouTube thinks you actually liked the video.
That's a great idea. It's amazing we've gone this long and not had a name. I'm not saying Lodger.
You just did.
I know. But like,
Should we call them log pushers?
no.
That one's I think now the name for fans of my personal channel.
No, that sounds like something that happens in a bathroom.
Oh god. Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, the Patreon has like the Ranger
Yeah.
classes, so maybe that's it.
Maybe.
Man, my throat is killing me all day. Anyway,
I'll give you something to make your throat hurt, boy.
Gomb says, "Please,
No. Gum. No.
please." Also, I'll have your gift soon. He says.
Scared.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of gifts. Whoever sent us the Sonichu medallion, it came. I don't know what I was expecting. But what is this? Don't put it on.
Oh.
Oh. Oh. Demonetized.
Yep, immediate. Kellen sent two. Everybody's screaming, no, God, no. Kellen twice for 556, love it. Says, if you're interested in the Norse faith, Asatru and Folkism are two things that you want to stay away from.
That is what I've heard.
Quote, how can you value your stuff over someone's life? Easy. They shouldn't value my stuff over their own life.
Exactly. He gets it.
He gets it.
Also, if you enter my home without permission, I don't know why you're coming in, and I'm going to assume you're trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Especially now that I have enemies.
Yeah. Fruitcake for 199 says, don't associate all neo-paganism with cults / Nazism.
No, I'm not at all. I was just saying, like, specifically the Nazis were into that one kind.
Yeah. Marfy Baby for $10 says, I own a Kentucky rifle for home defense as the founding fathers intended. As we can expect the next JonBenet.
4-foot-long gun.
Tally-ho, lads. It's smoothbore, so it goes through the wall and takes out the neighbor's dog.
No, Kentucky rifle ain't smoothbore.
Oh, wait.
That's a rifle. You're thinking about the Brown Bess.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, no, the Kentucky rifle was rifled.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, it was Pennsylvania and Kentucky supplied a lot of riflemen to the war effort.
Mm-hmm.
It was us that were shooting officers. Which, by the way, one of my favorite scenes from The Patriot is Mel Gibson's character just being like, we'll stop shooting your officers at the beginning of battle when you stop killing innocent people.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is so good. Also asked, when's the next JonBenet Ramsey video? You kind of touched on that earlier.
yeah, I think I covered that.
And that we do amazing work with our research you don't find
thank
anywhere
you.
else. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Elena is back with, would you be willing to interview lawyers on various law-related questions? Example, YouTube channel Legal Eagle.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah?
We were attempting to have more guests on this show more frequently, but it just got to the point where we had so many things going on, we stopped
Yeah,
scheduling them.
we need like 3 employees right now. He needs an editor.
Yep.
I need a research assistant. And then we also need somebody whose job it is to just kind of manage stuff like that.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is we refuse to hire anybody until we can afford to pay them a wage that we think is fair.
Yeah, like I'd say at least like $4,000 a month.
Yeah. And we can't do that right now.
No, we cannot.
So, yeah. Well, let you know.
Yeah, we're trying to be ethical business people.
Yes, it's just hard to do that.
It turns out there's a reason so many business people are unethical.
It's hard to grow your business ethically.
Like, let's try. Time to fight ethical business practices. Damn, ethical business practices got hands.
Yeah, it is funny when you run a business and you try and do it ethically. You really do begin to understand how there really is no such thing as an ethical billionaire.
We could make careful, careful. We could make so much more money if we just stopped being as ethical as we are and we simply refuse to do it.
Yeah. You can keep us honest on that too.
Yeah, like we had an opportunity to actually do something kind of cool, and we ended up walking away from it for the most part because they were so focused on using AI.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm not going to name the company. I don't want to name and shame or anything. It's just different opinions on what was responsible, and we just kind of left it where it was because we didn't want to be that involved with AI content.
Yeah. There's some AI content that I really dig. Like, there's a channel on YouTube called NeuralViz that I think I showed you one video, but like this guy writes all of these scripts himself, records all of the voiceover, and like, you know, does a lot of different iterations to create the original images that he uses. But essentially he's using it to create like an alien world. And he's got like multiple different like actual series of videos. One is like a fake cop show, but with aliens. The other one is like the like a Rogan affiliate, like Tiggy Talks. One is a whole backstory series on how this thing happened.
Yeah,
and it's like it's an alternate like Earth thing. The writing is so clever, and like I fully understand that essentially he's using AI because he doesn't have the monetary means to make it a real show.
Yeah.
But also it being AI creates that uncanny valley effect that actually makes the content work even more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like an instance where it's a creator who's doing a lot of the legwork that is using it for an artistic choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
AI should be the thing that gets you across the finish line, not the thing that forms the bulk of what you're doing.
Exactly.
For example, I've been encouraging him to use AI programs to do like the stock image stuff, the stock video stuff over our videos, because at that point it's not generating anything, it's not utilizing anyone else's work, it's just listening to what I'm saying and then selecting footage or images that match it from a paid for stock library. Like that's a legitimate use of AI.
Yeah. I just haven't done it yet because I haven't seen anything that like fits my critique of how that works. But anyway, Patrick McNeely for $20, thank you, says too long didn't read for Wallpack. It was bought by force by the feds to make a dam that wasn't feasible due to the geology. The entire town is now part of the Delaware Water Gap NP. Like I said, fascinating, infuriating.
Weird.
There's a dam that collapsed in PA. I don't know if it was Jim Thorpe, but it was somewhere like that. And it was during like a really heavy rain. It flooded the entire town.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was back, I think, in like late 1800s, early 1900s.
That doesn't surprise me.
There's some channel that did like a really good animation about it. But yeah, really wild story. It took out like an entire railroad.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was insane. But yeah, we could definitely look into that.
That reminds me of when China was like parading their navy around Australia a few weeks ago. I saw somebody who said bold moves for someone whose Three Gorges Dam is within tomahawk distance.
Oh, horrible. Absolute Zero for $5 says, y'all make long drives better. Left my passport at college before a family flight Christmas week and drove 5 hours total before flying alone to Mexico.
It's okay. I somehow lost my passport in Alaska. I fully believe it was stolen.
Oh, that's brutal.
Out of my room, yeah.
I didn't know about this.
What? Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, thank God we weren't on our way to Canada.
Yeah.
You know, you used to be able to cross the Canadian border with your driver's license or a birth certificate.
Yeah.
What happened?
It's definitely not changing for the better anytime soon.
No. I think, you know what we should do? We should just swap for a year. Just Canada gets Trump. We get whoever Canada just elected.
They'd kill him.
To be fair, we'd also probably kill their guy.
Yeah.
We did kill the robot in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
It was Canadian.
That was a shame.
Yeah. Well, don't send a robot to West Philadelphia.
It's a shame. How far did it make it before we
It was like a while.
Yeah. Of course it was Philly.
Yeah.
Get your act together, Philly.
Philly is one of the greatest cities in this country, and it is simultaneously one of the worst cities in this country.
Yeah.
Amazing art, food, music, general culture, and then also just some of the most crime-ridden neighborhoods you've ever been to.
Yep.
It's amazing. You can go down to like Broad Street and have, top of the line cuisine. You can go see a Broadway show that is being performed by the same Broadway cast. You can go and listen to the Philharmonic, and then you can go a mile to the north, and it is Zombieland.
Hell, you could even be in Fishtown,
Yeah.
have amazing barbecue, hit amazing bars, cross one street, and then get shot.
Yep. Now, it's worse in Baltimore.
Fair.
Baltimore, you could be in a really nice area, and then there's a bad street, and then you're in a really nice area again, and you don't know when it happens.
Yep.
Amanda and I stayed in a super sketch Airbnb last year.
Brutal.
Yeah. 2 years ago. Damn.
Eleanor's is giving us lawyer money. Nadine Hurley's been a member for a month.
Whoop.
Pam has thoughts. Gave us $5 for the legal fund. Just recently found your channel and really enjoy it.
Oh, thank you.
Fancy Nurse Nancy is a new member.
Thank you.
Anthony Tiff gave us $5 and says, I think Aiden M. said one time his favorite church father was Augustine. He's good. My favorite, though, is Origen and Gregory of Nicaea.
Solid.
What?
Solid
Yep.
choices. Yeah, I just really like City of God. And Augustine's story is kind of wild.
Yeah. Alyssa, I'm sorry, I'm going to mess this up again. Jackie Leck.
Ooh, actually, if anyone's interested in doing kind of a collaborative project, I've been looking at doing some stuff on Weird Bible, some like Lore Lodge style videos. I just don't have the time to write them. But what I was thinking about doing was like the Bible in context. So not necessarily scriptural interpretation or anything like that, but, here's the world of the book of Exodus, or, the lives of the church fathers, stuff like that. So if anybody is interested in helping with that, we could work out that might be something that we can afford, to at least, if you could like outline a script and then I can flesh it out, that kind of thing I'd have time for. But that would be something that I think we could hire somebody for at this point. I think we'd have the funding for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Especially if you're like in college and you're writing those papers anyway. Then at that point, you're just kind of getting paid for the thing you were already doing.
Yeah. So Alyssa was asking, Melonheads when the boat / scaphism for punishment?
Melonheads?
I don't know.
Now I gotta look another thing up.
While you do that, Andrew Gilly for $5 says, would love to see a History Unhinged episode with the Fat Electrician as a guest, and would love to see y'all have a Pepperbox show too. Trust me, we're working on both of them.
Yeah, those things are both in the works right now. The hard part with Pepperbox is that, like, we don't know what to do. We had a few ideas. The one that the guys liked best is super expensive to produce.
Yeah.
Because we need a new ballistic gel dummy every month. And then we'd also have to dress it up as Bigfoot or Mothman.
We would also need about 16 more hours in every day.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one I was like, oh, this would be sick was doing like ghost hunting, but the editing. Yeah, it would be a lot.
We'd need a full-time editor just for that show, which we cannot do.
Exactly. So we're just working on figuring out what we're going to do for Pepperbox. We've had the conversation, though.
Yep.
If you got ideas, leave them on the CTK video so YouTube thinks you liked it.
There we go. Kix Young for $1.99 says, anything on Giants in Appalachia, also so interested.
Ooh, Giants in Appalachia. We've covered the Sulkalu, which is Cherokee, and is a giant.
Did we ever officially do a deep dive into the "they take apes in the mountains" thing from Roanoke?
Yeah, as part of the Bigfoot video, the second one.
Okay.
Or the first, yeah, the second one in that series.
DS for 223 says, "Bet it's a shadow ban. Love the channel. Keep it up."
It might be. We are trying to figure that out. YouTube is kind of pussyfooting around it.
Yep. Gord Pittier, love the name, for $4.99 says, "Honestly, I watch y'all at Friday nights to end my week."
Aw, sweet.
Appreciate it. Lisa Shelton for $4.99 says, "Maybe do a 24-hour live with your favorite past episodes."
I have done 2 24-hour live streams in my life. I will be so happy if I never do one again.
I'll tell you right now, if you guys can get us to 1 million million subscribers on the Lore Lodge main channel by the end of 2025, I'll do a 48-hour live.
Are you going to sleep on screen?
Yeah, I'll take a few naps here and there, but like for the most of it, I'll be awake.
We can take 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
How about that? We'll do a 48-hour, but we'll do it in shifts.
Yeah.
And that will probably involve everything from reactions to video games to us crying.
Yeah. If we can
probably some liquored lore.
If we can get to 1 million subscribers by 11:59
on December 31st
of 2025, we'll do a 48-hour live stream.
Our girlfriends are gonna kill us.
Yeah. So good luck with that. Anyway, T. Randall Photo for $2 says,
we still have girlfriends.
Anabaptist takeover is a cult story like Waco. SRS.
Serious is what that means.
Yeah, I figured, but
also I'm not saying that we plan on breaking up with our girlfriends or them breaking up on us with us.
Yeah, they might hate us if we actually do that.
But no, I want at least mine will not be a girlfriend at that point. She knows that.
Fair. What are you doing over here?
The Anabaptist thing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That looks fun. The time the Amish took over Munster.
Oh, so Lisa, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We're just making jokes. Noska J177 for $5 says, "You might like your job too much. Try hating your job for a bit. You might be able to psych out the algorithm."
Good point. Good point.
Good point.
I did hate my job the week we did the Philadelphia experiment video. I hated making that video. You know this.
Yeah.
I called him nearly crying.
Yeah.
Because I hated doing that video so much.
I recommended it. I thought it'd be better. I thought it would do better. That one's on me.
Yeah, YouTube was like, no. How dare you?
Everybody really liked the Killdozer one.
Your judgment's usually good.
Yeah,
I think that one, honestly, I don't think that one would have done so poorly if not for the age restriction.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, it wasn't doing great, but I think it would have at least hit like 150K.
Well, the fact that...
Because it did hit 160 between the two uploads,
exactly,
so it probably would have done 200 or more.
Yeah.
Thanks, YouTube. All right, what
Thanks,
else
guys.
We're almost done.
I know. Mark Reese for $5 says, "Casey Anthony, she put herself out there a few weeks back. I would imagine there's still interest in the case." Yeah, it'd be cool to cover that, actually. Hang on, I got to reload it.
Yep, there it is.
James Knapp for $2 says, "Hardcore viewers want the JB case. Casuals, though, question mark?"
I think, I don't know. I think the way I planned on doing it, maybe I'll just move the timeline up.
Yeah, might be worth it. Cryptic Vulpix has been a member for 9 months, and Nate Palmer is a new member. Cryptic Vulpix has been a member for 9 months, and Nate Palmer is a new member.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. History's Army for $4.99 says, "I missed the Weird Bible this last week, but I just wanted to say God bless you guys and Lord Wendigoon. Y'all do great work."
Oh, thank you.
Vengeful Pork for $10 says, "Take my money, nerds. Keep up the good work."
Thank you.
Roy Pratt for $5 says, "Hi, guys. Long-time listener, first time calling live. Can you possibly look into the case of Jermaine Charlo? She disappeared in Missoula, Montana."
Putting it on the list.
Cool. Vengeful Fork for $5 says, "Conspiracy video idea. A deep dive into why Wendigoon's lips are so large." He's just got He's got a lot of.
What?
He's got that supple Southern accent. It just rolls off so smooth and so kind. Good on the ears, and the lips help.
He got injections.
He's actually got a BBL. That's why you
Oh, yeah.
see it on camera.
Mm-hmm. That's why you never see his legs.
Yes. Kellen, the
Also, dude has lost some weight. Good on him.
yeah, well done.
Yeah. He was, during Weird Bible the other night, he put his arm up for 1 second. I was like, oh, man's looking a little jacked.
Yeah.
Good for him. I got to get jacked.
Kellen has provided a possible name for our followers.
We cannot call them milkers.
No, we can't. Nor do we want to. I'm sorry, guys.
Like, is it unfortunately fitting given the history of the channel? Yeah, but we can't call them milkers.
No, we can't. Trash Talks for $2. It's getting cheaper. So speaking of gifts, gift for Mattis arriving Wednesday.
For me?
For you.
Oh my god! Wow!
I had a gift that I got myself arrive today.
You what?
I said I had a gift that I got myself today arrive today.
What was it?
$5. It was a copy of an issue of National Geographic from 1968.
What was it?
It was a copy of National.
What?
What was the reason for getting
Yeah.
it? It's the same copy that they used in Jaws.
Ah, got it.
The exposition where Roy Scheider's character of Chief Brody is looking through a book at all these pictures of sharks that like scare him, and he's like trying to get information about it. It's that issue.
Got
of
it.
National Geographic.
Got it.
I saw it on somebody posted about it on Reddit, on the Jaws Reddit,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool! I wonder if any others are available." And I went on eBay, and there was one for $5. For somebody that's my favorite film, and that's what got me into filmmaking. $5 for a piece of film history was more than enough, for me to pull the trigger. So, yeah, it was cool. Taylor, for $4.99 says, you should look into Mara Murray, a UMass/West Point student, got into a car accident after randomly taking off and was never found.
Crazy you mentioned that. I almost did that episode 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And then I was like, ooh, this is so much stuff. And I did not have my Adderall because there was a shortage. I have it again. I actually purchased the book written by the private investigator for the Breonna Mayland case. So I'm trying to decide whether to do those as one episode or dedicate an episode to each. I don't know, because at first it was going to be like, oh, is this a serial killer? And then I did some research and I was like, it was not a serial killer at all. So both weird, looking into them. Definitely have videos coming. Just as you guys know, I like to, if something has been gone over many, many times, I only like to do it if I feel like I can add something. I think I can. I just need time. So I'm working on it. All right, what else we got? We're almost done. We're in the clear.
We're almost in here. Romulus, surprisingly not with Remus, for $5 says 90% plus of high-level nuclear waste is recyclable. Thorium isn't new nuclear tech. It's just decays into U-233. Traditional reactors use 235 from 238.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kyle Hill has some great videos on why thorium salt reactors should be way more widely used.
Yeah, it makes me so angry as a Pennsylvanian that the reason so many people are against nuclear is that the media blew something that happened in Pennsylvania out of proportion, because I don't know a single Pennsylvanian who's anti-nuclear. I think we're like number 2, or no, we're in like the top 3 in the U.S. in terms of nuclear production per capita.
We have a nuclear power plant less than 10 miles away that's been functioning since like, what, the 60s?
Yeah. It's one of the oldest ones in the country at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just fine. It like powers this entire area.
Yep.
I have literally never seen a coal or oil power plant in person in my life.
There is one.
Where?
It's Crombie, but it hasn't operated.
Oh, yeah, the old one. That's
Yeah.
that's what I mean, though, is I haven't seen an operational one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. Quattro Jacinto for $2.
Oh, my God. Quattro, how you doing, man?
How you doing, brother? Says, get this Rome truther off my screen now. What does that mean?
Momlennial, remember?
Oh, right.
Quattro, Verdansk is coming soon. We're gonna have to jump back into the war zone together now that there's a reason to play.
There we go.
Now, if only they'd bring back the mechanics from the 2019 version.
That'd be nice. World Wonder 8, 1914 says, I think I found a Masonic sword at a thrift store.
You probably did.
Yeah, I put pictures in the related Discord channel. It's from the early 1900s.
It is. I have two. It's probably the same thing.
Also, yes, it is in fact Limerick.
Yep.
Gamer $5 says, since the government seems to be erasing history, I'd love to see something on the Tuskegee Airmen or similar stories, maybe on History Unhinged.
We could definitely hit Tuskegee Airmen on History Unhinged. We can hit a couple of Tuskegee things on History Unhinged.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we have an episode on the Tuskegee experiments. YouTube buried it. It's also possible that a number of people didn't watch it because of the subject matter. We don't want to make any assumptions. Either YouTube didn't push it or people didn't watch it for unfortunate reasons. But I think that here's the thing.
Remember that clip of Kanye from 2005 during Katrina?
Yeah.
Replace George Bush with YouTube.
Yeah, or the CDC.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing. I probably shouldn't have marketed it as, like, look at this horrible thing we did to African Americans in this small town in Alabama. I probably should have marketed it as, look at this horrible thing the government did to our own people.
Yeah.
And then also to the Guatemalans.
Yeah.
It's one of the only videos I've ever had to give a content warning on because of how bad. Yeah, you know what? I should redo it down the line as the American Mengele, the doctor who was in charge of it, because oh my God, this man was, thank God he's dead. He was a horrible human being.
Yeah, very much so.
The doctor in charge. Also, just to be clear, for those who don't know, first of all, I recommend watching the video. It's one of our more recent ones in terms of channel quality. It's from after I had the time to do things full time. I think you were actually full time editing at that point. Like, for those who don't know, the CDC and its predecessor ran an experiment that began in the 1930s and ran through the mid-1970s. It was an experiment on untreated syphilis. And just a few years into it, we developed penicillin. The whole point of the experiment was they were like, well, we need to see how syphilis progresses and, you know, understand, like, how that works before we can look at treatment options. So they just let it run wild. Now, they didn't need to do this because the Norwegians had, in fact, already done this study in a more ethical way, using documentation from existing patients in a time when there was no treatment for syphilis. So they didn't have to deliberately let anybody go and have untreated syphilis. They also told the people that were in the experiment they were being treated. They weren't. So there was no reason to do the experiment whatsoever, except for they made the argument that, well, maybe black people have syphilis differently. No. But yeah, midway, like briefly into the experiment, we developed penicillin. And there was no longer any need to study the effects of syphilis because you could cure it with a drug that had zero side effects beyond maybe a little nausea. And they kept it going until the 1970s. And this is the CDC at this point. The only reason it was shut down is because the media got wind. The only reason. Nobody ever faced charges. Nobody went to jail. I mean, it is a disgusting story. And it's the kind of thing that we should name and shame whenever possible.
Remember when the Fourth Estate still did their job?
Yeah. Now it's just BuzzFeed listicles.
Yep.
Apparently the Babadook is a gay icon.
That one's true.
I'm done with you.
You know why, right?
No.
It's because when the Babadook was put onto Netflix.
Uh-huh. Oh, right. It somehow ended up in the LGBT section.
Yeah. So everybody was just like, is he a gay icon? And then everybody was like, oh, he's a gay icon.
Oh, no. You're spending too much time around your girlfriend.
Is there such a thing?
Right now? Right in this exact moment?
Maybe, but she loves me and makes me chicken soup when I'm sick. So
That's fair.
Doomsday, not saying the second half of that, says series of camping videos in spooky national parks.
We got one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to Yellowstone. We could do some vlogging while we're there.
Yeah. We were going to do them when we were in Alaska, but we just got too preoccupied with just looking at how beautiful everything is.
Yeah, and we were having a really good time with the people there. Like,
Yeah.
it was a good crew.
Yeah, you guys are great. Pappy Gingy for $2 says, listening to y'all at work helps me push through.
Woo, thank
To
you.
hear it. Oh, wait, hang on.
What would you miss?
Terror Liquorun for 515 said, I'd love a video on your research methods. Been so long since I was last in school, I don't know what modern methods wade through the BS for legit info.
Ooh, I could probably do an explanation of that on my personal channel.
You probably literally just like stream it.
Maybe that would be an incredibly boring stream. It would probably be easier to kind of set up a series of examples of what I do.
Yeah. Also, James for 199 says, y'all ever seen Late Night with the Devil? I have not.
I have not.
Almost done. Heather whatever for 499 says, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And Trash Talks for $2 says, Archie Army!
Honestly, not a bad one.
Not a bad one at all.
Yeah.
What a great way to end it.
Yeah. I wish we had Archie here.
Great stream, guys. Thanks for coming
Yeah.
out.
Thank you for being here. This was nice.
This was good. This was needed.
Uh,
This is healing.
We almost didn't do a stream tonight. Look at us.
I know. I'm so glad.
I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
I'm glad we
We
did.
were both feeling very defeated at about 6:30.
Yeah. We rallied,
Glad we did.
and it worked. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. We will hopefully see you again on next Monday. Don't know what the topic's going to be of that show. Might have to do with Vikings. Might not. And yeah, I'll be streaming probably Sons of the Forest on Friday night, I believe.
Cat and I might do another Captain Cat at some point.
We need a good multiplayer ships game.
I've never played Sea of Thieves, but I've heard good things.
I feel like if we had a big enough crew, the antics could be wonderful.
I agree.
And I have enough for a small crew.
I mean, I have a crew.
Also,
in
hold
Discord.
fast.
What's hold fast?
It's Napoleonic mountain blade.
What?
I'm gonna show you some videos. You know you remember the viral video of the video game where the guy is playing as a Scottish Highlander? I'll show you right after the show.
All right, cool.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.